It's another new week, and Hogwarts is obviously much more lively than the first week. Because just after class ended on Monday, an announcement was posted on the notice board in the hall that Quidditch player selection and first-year flying lessons would begin this week. Regarding flight, all human beings instinctively yearn for the sky. Ordinary people conquer the sky with airplanes, while wizards rely on broomsticks. Oh, and there's the flying carpet. It's just that the sale of this thing has been banned in Europe. In fact, not many wizards are interested in flying carpets. The flying carpet is too fluttery, and because it is made of fur, it is particularly difficult to take care of. It will become very dirty after being used for a while. Coupled with the fact that those Middle Easterners cut corners and often had safety issues, almost no one would like flying carpets. In short, Quidditch suddenly became the #1 trending topic at Hogwarts. Wherever you go, you can hear little wizards discussing broomsticks and Quidditch. I once made a lot of money riding a helicopter that swept around muggles. You know about helicopters? Right. It's the thing with a spinning head. The muggles were so frightened that they almost fell out of it. Malfoy's story has been told several times, each time different, but it always ends with him using his superb flying skills to avoid danger. The other little wizards were no less generous. They had all kinds of Quidditch action terms at their fingertips and explained them clearly. Those who don't know think they can do the same thing. Even the teachers joined in the fun. Professor McGonagall asked the little wizard to turn pencils into quaffles in class. Except for Wayne, no one succeeded, but Hermione turned the pencil into a piece of cowhide. The angry little witch broke the pencil in half after class, but she thought it would be used in the next class, so she could only use a repair spell to repair it. In Charms class, Professor Flitwick introduced a new spell, the acceleration charm. Actually, broomsticks are engraved with a solidified acceleration spell. The higher the level of the spell, the better the conductivity, and the faster the broom will accelerate. To now, Nimbus Company has iterated the basic acceleration countless times, and it is their company's top secret. If someone can develop a more advanced acceleration spell, then maybe you can also set up a broomstick company. These words made the little wizard get excited, waved his wand and screamed, but the snail on the table did not react at all. What are you busy with recently? While Professor Flitwick was giving some advice to Wayne, Hermione secretly poked Wayne in the waist. Hermione had not seen Wayne except for class in the past 2 days. Even at lunch, there was no sign of him on Hufflepuff's long table. The young man yawned. I'm ready to do business. I'm almost busy. Hermione looked at him warily. Business? What else are you planning? You'll know when the time comes. Wayne said, and used an acceleration spell. His snail immediately started its turbine engine, surpassing Hermione's snail and reaching the finish line first. Want to make some pocket money? Wayne raised his eyebrows slightly. Of course I do. I have a lot of books I want to buy. Hermione said helplessly. Then do me a favor in the next 2 days, and I'll share 30% of the money you earn. Hermione looked at him suspiciously. Isn't it a bad thing that violates school rules? It's confidential, but it doesn't violate school rules. Ha, don't tell me if you don't want to. The little witch snorted angrily and ignored Wayne for the rest of the class. However, after leaving the classroom after class, Hermione hesitated slightly and said, Malfoy has been saying bad things about you lately. Wayne was stunned and waved his hand. I'm busy and don't have time to talk to him, so you don't need to pay any attention to him and let Harry bite him. What bite? Harry also walked out of the classroom and was slightly stunned when he heard his name. Let you bite, Malfoy. Don't disgust me. Harry showed a disgusted expression, but if I can punch him, I would be very happy. Malfoy was talking about him behind his back, and Wayne already knew it. The most important thing for Hufflepuff is wizards. They are everywhere, and Malfoy is not carrying anyone behind his back. Naturally, the little badger hears it and tells Wayne. After learning the whole story, Wayne just laughed it off. A talent that doesn't attract envy is considered mediocre. Wayne's performance was even more outstanding than Hermione's. In just 1 week, he had become a genius known to all first-year students. Naturally, Malfoy and those purebloods couldn't stand it. They didn't say anything, they just said that Wayne had to study hard and study in advance to please the professor. But when it comes to Quidditch, a sport that only purebloods have been exposed to since childhood, Wayne's true colors will be revealed. It's just childish jealousy. If Wayne gets angry over even this trivial matter, will he be able to do anything serious for the day? Thursday arrived in the blink of an eye. Wayne had no classes in the afternoon and was hiding in his room making props for sale. Suddenly Toby and Norman barged in, looking like they were coming to eat. Something big happened. Wayne cooperated and listened, but the work on his hands did not stop. Longbottom broke his wrist. Potter and Malfoy had a conflict during flying lessons. Taking advantage of Mrs. Hooch's absence, they chased each other on broomsticks in the sky, and they were inseparable. Is this word used here? Wayne twitched his lips, feeling sad for Toby's English proficiency. Toby was still gushing. You don't know, Potter flew so well. He played a trick on Malfoy, but unfortunately Professor McGonagall saw it, and he will probably be in bad luck. I can't say for sure, Wayne said casually. Maybe the professor saw how well he flew and specially approved Harry to join the Quidditch team. Didn't their seeker graduate last year? We are first grade. Norman reminded. First graders are not allowed to join the Quidditch team. Actually, yes. Wayne put the parchment away and looked at the two of them. In 1853, Coleman Fleming joined the school team in the first grade. Well, I can't tell you. Norman was a little depressed. What I'm most worried about now is whether I will fall to the ground like Longbottom tomorrow. A broken wrist is a trivial matter, but if my neck is broken, I will be finished. Don't worry. Wayne patted his shoulder comfortingly. If it's really broken, we will go to the infirmary to see you. Toby raised his head in surprise. My neck is broken. Shouldn't we just start the dinner? Norman, can't you just wait for me to order? The two were just about to sit down and read some books about Quidditch when another excited shout came from outside the door. Come on! Potter and Malfoy are fighting in the Great Hall. Eating melon is always the second driving force in solving human procrastination. The first is GHS. With a loud roar, the entire Hufflepuff dormitory stirred up, and everyone rushed out. There were even a few little wizards who came out in their pajamas. At this time, Hufflepuff's advantage was once again reflected. They lived in the basement, and the auditorium was just above. It didn't take long to reach the battlefield. There were many people gathered together in the auditorium, and Wayne found a gap and squeezed in. There was a lively fight inside. Malfoy and Harry rolled into a ball, and their wands fell to the ground casually, but no one paid attention to them. Wayne discovered that there was nothing wrong with Toby's use of adjectives. Aren't the two of them in a perfect relationship? Harry stroked Malfoy's hair and Malfoy pinched his ears. He also sent a cordial greeting to the other party. Brother Drag's two young followers, Crabbe and Goyle, wanted to help, but were stopped by other Gryffindor students and severely reprimanded. What do you want to do? This is a sacred duel. Is the glory of a pure-blood family to bully the minority with more. The two of them together were only about the same size as the troll. They thought it made sense when they heard it, and they actually stopped helping. Like other little snakes and little lions, they were there to cheer for their boss. Finally, Professor McGonagall arrived, and the little wizards gathered around him immediately dispersed and hid away to watch the excitement. After seeing this shocking scene, Professor McGonagall almost fainted. Potter, Malfoy, let me go. At this time, the two finally reluctantly let go of each other, but their eyes were still looking at each other lovingly, and they were also having a heated exchange with the women in each other's family tree. How dare you? McGonagall was like an angry lion at this time, and Harry and Malfoy lowered their heads tremblingly. This is only the second week of school. You guys are actually fighting in the auditorium in front of so many people. Points deducted, 30 points for each college. Stand in solitary confinement. Ronald couldn't help but defend Harry. Professor, it's Malfoy. I didn't ask you, Mr. Weasley. No reason is an excuse for them to fight in public. McGonagall silenced Ronald with one look. At this moment, Snape received the news and rushed over. His expression was so gloomy that he could drip water, and he looked at Malfoy angrily. If the person fighting Potter was not a student from his own academy, he would torture Potter to death in this round. Come to my office at 7 o'clock in the evening to dispose of the toad's body. When will it be done, and when will the confinement end? Snape decided on the confinement, and Professor McGonagall did not object. Seeing that the excitement was over, everyone dispersed, and Wayne found Hermione. What's going on? Why did they fight? The little witch shook her head. I don't know. I was in the library and ran here with someone else. It seems that even a top student cannot avoid being curious. Just in time, the twins came over laughing and said after asking for information from Ronald, "We know that Malfoy thought that Harry had been expelled, so he taunted Harry crazily and called him Scarhead. They started arguing after another. That's all." Wayne curled his lips. He thought there would be some big news. It's finally over. It's been a nightmare. On Friday afternoon, after 2 potions lessons, Toby looked like he was going to survive. Just now in class, he was scolded by Snape because he threw Meesy's feces directly into the crucible without disposing of it. Snape also deducted 5 points. Seeing that the house score difference between Hufflepuff and Slytherin had reached 80 points, Snape also began to increase his efforts. If the medicinal materials are put in at the wrong time, points will be deducted. If the crucible temperature is not enough, points will be deducted. Points will be deducted for failure to clean the workbench. After one class, Hufflepuff lost more than 10 points. Why doesn't Dean Sprout favor us? Hannah, who was walking beside Wayne, asked with some confusion. That's enough partiality. Susan Bones reminded in a low voice, "Every weekend, Professor Sprout will find people to help in the greenhouse, and most of them are people from our college. I usually add a few points. Extra points are not enough." Hannah hummed wisely. "We should learn from Professor Snape and deduct all the points from other colleges. Then we will be number 1. Wayne glanced at her. "Girl, you have the potential to be an assassin." The little badger and the little eagles left the castle and came to the lawn to prepare for flying lessons. Even though Neville broke his wrist yesterday, it didn't affect everyone's enthusiasm at all. No one thinks that they are dumber than Navi. Except in the herbal medicine class, most people can't see that Navi has the potential to be a wizard. Everyone didn't have to wait long before Mrs. Hooch arrived, using her wand to control several large frames to float behind her, filled with broomsticks. Her expression was extremely serious, and it seemed that she was quite frightened by yesterday's farce. The teaching staff at Hogwarts can really be described as mixed, with good teachers such as Professor McGonagall, Professor Sprout, and Professor Flitwick. There are also potion masters like Snape, who is extremely professional but has a mouth like a poisonous snake. There is also a teacher like Trelawney, who is basically a useless teacher except when he is using his skills. It can only be described as a chaotic dance of demons. Apparently Mrs. Hooch is not a qualified teacher either. Facing the students who flew into the sky without permission, all she could do was yell, and then wait for them to fall to death and send them to the infirmary for treatment. At this level, he can only be a referee. But today Mrs. Hooch has clearly learned her lesson. The same steps as before. Let the little wizard call for the broom and wait for the broom to jump into his hand. Wayne succeeded in just one attempt, while others jumped on their brooms and rolled on the ground. If you shout a few more times, the broom will pat them impatiently. It took more than 10 minutes for everyone to hold it in their hands. Immediately afterwards, Mrs. Hooch asked everyone to put down their brooms and start coaching one by one. Although it is slow, at least it is much safer. What reassured her was that everyone's talents were generally poor, but there were no signs of losing control. Finally, it's Wayne's turn. Wayne didn't do anything wrong and honestly followed the steps taught by Hooch and Flew. He is a person who cherishes his life. The broomsticks in the school are all antiques from 30 or 40 years ago. Who knows whether they will fall apart? It's safer to fly lower. If something happens, you can react quickly. Contrary to what I imagined, riding on it did not cause melancholy pain like wind blowing in my buttocks. Instead, it was a soft, invisible cushion. It's not that uncomfortable to watch. Due to their age, these broomsticks are not very fast, but flying in the sky and changing directions freely according to one's own thoughts feels very good. Wayne flew for a while without any problems. Mrs. Hooch was relieved and started to guide the next person. Gradually, there are more and more little wizards in the sky. Most of them are not flying high and just leave the ground. It's not as powerful as they boasted before. Wayne's 2 roommates had never touched a broomstick and were novices. They clamped the broomsticks under their legs and ran back and forth on the ground, pretending to fly. Ravenclaw's Lisa Dupin accidentally slipped off her broom, and a few more hairs were knocked out of her already few tail hairs. Wayne became more and more proficient as he flew, and gradually his altitude became higher and higher. From a high position, he saw a girl looking at him with a smile. Wayne descended and came to the opponent. Q, why are you here? The girl was Q Zhang from Ravenclaw. There was a girl next to her. She was looking at Q curiously and then at Wayne with an ambiguous expression. I don't have classes in the afternoon, so I'll take a walk with Marietta. The girl smiled generously, revealing two cute dimples. This is your first flying lesson. It seems you have a lot of talent. Maybe you can join the Quidditch team in the future. By the way, I forgot to introduce you. She stretched out her hand to the girl next to her and said, This is Marietta Akmo, my good friend. Wayne nodded. Hello, I'm Wayne Lawrence, a freshman at Hufflepuff. He had an impression of this name. In the original book, it was Marietta who betrayed Harry and Dumbledore's army and informed Umbridge, which led to Dumbledore being driven away. From Harry's and Guard's perspective, Marietta must have acted dishonestly and become a complete traitor. But if you think about it, what would you do if you were Marietta? Her parents both work in the Ministry of Magic, and Umbridge uses this as a blackmail. How can a girl who is not yet underage bear this? It can only be said that the perspectives and attitudes towards things are also different. Wayne didn't have a bad feeling towards her. I know you, the little genius in the first grade, Marietta said with a smile. Professor Flitwick said there must be something wrong with the sorting hat. A smart little wizard like you should come to Ravenclaw. Wayne was speechless and said, According to Professor Flitwick, Percy Weasley, Cedric, and even Granger are going to Ravenclaw, and other professors will definitely give him trouble by then. All three of them laughed. Then he looked at Q again. Quidditch selection should have started. How about it? Did you pass it? When it came to Quidditch, Q immediately became excited. Passed. I was selected as Ravenclaw's seeker, and I'm still the starter. Congratulations, then. Please be merciful next time you meet Hufflepuff. Q pursed her lips and chuckled. No way, I will definitely catch the golden snitch. The two chatted for a while because they were still in class, and Wayne couldn't leave so blatantly. Don't look, everyone has gone away. Q's eyes were still on the boy's back, Marietta joked. Okay, the most handsome guy in the first grade hooked up so quickly. Tell me how you met. Q rolled her eyes at her friend angrily, wondering why her words were so unpleasant. But the image of Wayne casting a spell without a wand for the first time the two met appeared in her mind. Wayne, who is that? So beautiful. Toby and Norman put down their brooms and came over. Many girls nearby pricked up their ears in gossip. It's none of your business. Hurry up and train. I don't know why I thought you two were free-roaming chickens. Their heads drooped. They seemed to have absolutely no talent for flying, and even picked up brooms secretly by themselves. Mrs. Hooch tried several times, but she just shook her head and let them play. Wayne ignored the two lively roommates and continued riding his broom. What? Malfoy wants to duel you. Gryffindor Lounge. Ronald looked at Harry in surprise. Keep your voice down. Harry quickly looked around and breathed a sigh of relief when no one noticed them. What does a wizard duel look like? Harry asked nervously. He also asked me to bring an assistant. What is this? Assistant. Ronald stuffed a Bibi multi-flavor bean into his mouth, and his face wrinkled. Damn, it tastes like carrots. If you or Malfoy fall, the assistants will step up until neither side has the ability to fight. I guess Malfoy's assistant is either Crabbe or Goyle. Harry felt a little confused and asked quickly, Ronald, can you be my assistant? Of course, I've wanted to teach Malfoy a lesson for a long time. Ronald also became excited. We haven't mastered much magic. The most we can do is make the other party have a little nosebleed. Then we'll still have to rely on our fists. That's it. The two of them discussed a countermeasure. Ronald was stronger than Harry. When the time came, Harry would be responsible for holding down Malfoy, and he would be responsible for beating him. Regardless of Crabbe or Goyle, this was a technique Harry learned from Dudley. In a fight, he had to hold one down and beat him to death. When are you dueling? Ronald finally asked. Next Friday, in the prize display room on the second floor. Both of them have to be in confinement these days, so the time can only be postponed, but Harry thinks it's not bad. He can use this week to learn some magic. It's so cool that it's night time. Ronald rubbed his hands excitedly. Not only could he beat Malfoy, but he could also take a night tour in the castle. He's been thinking about it for a long time. What the two of them didn't notice was that not far away, Hermione, who was immersed in her homework, listened to the entire conversation and pursed her lips. In a blink of an eye, it's Monday again. Early in the morning, the little wizards came to the cafeteria to eat. Harry looked a little tired. He had not had a good rest this weekend because he joined the Quidditch team. During the day, he was pulled by Wood for training, and he was kept in solitary confinement at night. Now the person Harry hates most is definitely Snape, followed by Malfoy. Even his Dudley had to line up behind these two. The door of the auditorium suddenly opened, and there was a chaotic and noisy sound, as if hundreds of birds were flapping their wings. The little wizards were used to this, so they quickly filled their bowls with vegetables and pulled them down in front of them to protect them. Soon, a flock of owls flew in, throwing letters and packages into the arms of the recipients or into the nearby soup, leaving a mess. The twins secretly hid their packages, which were the big shit eggs and nosebleed nougat they bought at Zuko's joke shop. They must not be seen by Professor McGonagall. Harry also picked up today's Daily Prophet and read it. Bah! At this moment, a bird song appeared out of thin air, the owls shivered, and two that were flying in the sky fell directly into the soup. Everyone looked up, looking for the source of the sound. Flash of fire suddenly appeared in midair, and then a flying phoenix flew out of the flames, holding two packages at its feet. Under everyone's stunned gaze, Phoenix landed next to Wayne and put down two packages. This. Cedric, who had just been talking to Wayne about the glorious history of Charlie Cannon, couldn't even speak clearly now. Ah, this is the package I bought. What's wrong? Wayne slowly put the package at his feet. No, Cedric finally recovered and wrote. Is the focus on the package? The focus is on this phoenix. Seeing Phoenix standing on Wayne's shoulder, preening his feathers, Cedric couldn't hold back any longer. Why would a phoenix deliver express delivery to you? He asked a question that all the new students of the Little Wizard wanted to know. Professor Sprout, who was in the guest seat and wanted to have breakfast, and Kettleburn, who was taking care of magical creatures class, hurried over. Especially Kettleburn, who only had half a leg left and used magic to push his chair to float over, looking at Feng Wang infatuatedly. Look at her, how beautiful she is. Beautiful. Wayne raised his eyebrows and reached out to touch Feng Wang's head. Compared with when it was just hatched, the appearance of the Phoenix King has changed dramatically. It has grown orange-red feathers with a hint of green at the end. It does look a lot better, but compared to beauty. To be honest, Wayne thinks that his bird is just visible, better than the ones in Parkhamen. Far from beautiful. As if sensing his master's disdain, the Phoenix King chirped in dissatisfaction and gently pecked Wayne's cheek, as if he were being coquettish. She is so difficult. When it was born, its owner thought it was a big-billed bird, but now it has finally grown a bit, and it has the shadow of a legendary Parkhamen, but its owner is still not satisfied. What do you want from me? Do you have to turn into a human form to repay your kindness to be satisfied? Mr. Lawrence, who is this phoenix? Professor Sprout asked after observing for a moment. Feng Wang found me a few days after I received the admission notice. We got along quite well, so he followed me. Wayne made an excuse at random, not afraid that no one would believe it. The most indispensable thing in the magic world is miracles and legends. He just took this opportunity to reveal the existence of the Phoenix King. Getting along. Hearing his perfunctory statement, Cedric's eyes turned red, and the other little wizards were no better. Beside the long Gryffindor table, Hermione stared at him. If the professor hadn't been there, she would have run over to take a closer look. This is a phoenix. Since this century, people have only known the existence of two phoenixes. One is Dumbledore's pet, Fox. The other is Sparkle, the mascot of the Quidditch team Matola Macaws. Wayne is the third one. A little wizard who just entered school, his pet is actually a phoenix. Malfoy was so jealous that he almost broke his teeth. His favorite magical animal is the fire dragon, but that doesn't mean he doesn't like the phoenix. This rare, noble magical creature is perfect for the Malfoy family. For a moment, Malfoy wanted to ask Wayne to buy the phoenix. It's a pity that as long as he is not a fool, he will never sell it to him. Sprout also opened his mouth after hearing Wayne's explanation. The words were stuck in his throat, and he didn't ask in the end. She wants to ask Wayne, is your real last name Dumbledore? Anyone who knows anything knows that the Phoenix appears to the Dumbledore family in times of need. It matches Wayne's description very well. Just when the auditorium fell into an eerie silence, there was another crisp cry. But it was not sent by the Phoenix King, but by another Phoenix. Feeling the aura of the same race after localization of the system, Fox pursued him. He didn't come as a bird, dragging Dumbledore with him. Old Dengtu must not have gotten up yet. He was still wearing pajamas and a funny nightcap on his head. Many little wizards laughed out loud because Dumbledore's pajamas were so cute, with patterns of velvet and goblins drawn on them. Fox, what happened? It's so urgent. Dumbledore obviously didn't understand the situation and was still a little confused. Fox ignored him and flew to Wayne and hovered in front of him. Phoenix King also flew up with flames still burning on his body. Fox shouted happily and lowered his head on his own initiative. He could feel that the blood of this phoenix was nobler than his, and even in its infancy, he still had to show his respect. It's incredible. Dumbledore woke up and looked at the performance of the two phoenixes with deep surprise in his eyes. "Mr. Lawrence, is she your pet?" "Of course," Wayne nodded. "Although first-year wizards are only allowed to bring toads, mice, and owls as pets. However, the role of the Phoenix King is similar to that of an owl. It is used to deliver messages. It should not violate school rules." There was silence. Cedric was hard. His fist was hard. "You are so Versailles, you can easily be beaten." "Certainly." Even Dumbledore was shocked by Wayne's magical brain circuitry for a while, and then he said with a smile, "This school rule was originally established to prevent students from getting into trouble if they cannot restrain their pets. You and your Phoenix King, that's your name, right? The relationship is very good, and the Phoenix is a kind-hearted and highly intelligent magical animal. I won't deduct points from you for this." "That's good." Wayne pretended to be relieved. "It would be too rude to chat with you dressed like this." Dumbledore looked at his clothes and asked with a smile, "Would you like to have a cup of afternoon tea with me, a nagging old man? The time will be after you finish class in the afternoon. Perhaps I can share some experience with you in raising phoenixes." Wayne surprised him more and more. Old Deng, who originally wanted to observe in secret for a while, could only change his plan temporarily. Only by getting up close and personal can we have a more detailed understanding of Wayne. "My pleasure." Wayne didn't refuse, and Dumbledore looked very happy. "The password is Cockroach Pile, and the principal's office is on the 8th floor. After saying that, Dumbledore was ready to leave. As for Fox, the two phoenixes flew out of the castle and disappeared without a trace while they were talking. Let him have more fun with Phoenix King. After being alone for so long, I finally found a companion. Dumbledore understood Fox's excitement. Wayne is also going to put his package back in the dormitory and go to class. "Wait a minute, Lawrence." Snape's gloomy voice came. He didn't know when he arrived in the auditorium, but he didn't speak and just watched from the side. Seeing Snape calling Wayne, the young wizards who were surrounding him and wanted to ask for more information about the Phoenix King immediately hid away. Cedric gave him a look that was asking for blessings and quickly ran away. Bar B ***ch. Wayne gave him a look of disdain before looking at Snape. "Professor, what's the matter? What are these two packages?" Snape lowered his head and looked at the package in Wayne's hand. "One is square and square, the other is slender and slender." Wayne told the truth, some materials and a broomstick. Snape was shocked. Is this Hufflepuff? So sincere. When he saw the shape of the package, he had some guesses in his mind, so he stopped Wayne after Dumbledore left. He thought of countless excuses that Wayne would use, but this was the only one he didn't think of, directly admitting it. For a moment, Snape was suspicious again. Is it really a flying broomstick? Open both, I want to check. As a professor, I have an obligation to prevent students from bringing dangerous items into the castle. Snape decided to take a look first. Wayne was helpless. He told the truth. Snape still wanted to watch. He was really free. Without any further delay, Wayne opened both packages. Inside the square box were a pile of magic ink, various grades of parchment, and several bottles of magic potions. Inside the rectangular box was, as he said, a flying broomstick. It is the latest customized version of the Nimbus 2000, which emits light when flying and is engraved with Wayne's name. Compared with the ordinary model, the parameters of the customized version are exactly the same, but the price is almost double. Don't ask, asking is faith. Do you understand the value of the prodigal eye? Anyway, Cedric's eyes turned red again. The twins who were watching the excitement from a distance jumped up excitedly. Nimbus 2000. Wayne bought a Nimbus 2000. Merlin's beard, where did he get so much money? Hermione frowned, a little unhappy. Why did Wayne spend money randomly again? Lawrence. Snape took a deep breath and said after checking, "You should know that the school does not allow first-year wizards to bring broomsticks to school, right?" "I know," Wayne said matter-of-factly. "It's all written on the admission notice." "Then you knowingly committed the crime." Snape sneered. "How many points should I deduct from you?" But before Snape could finish speaking, Wayne interrupted him. "Professor." The young man looked at him strangely. "Where did this broomstick come from?" Snape frowned. "Of course it was sent by your phoenix. Don't tell me it's not yours. Your name is engraved on it." "It's mine." Wayne repacked the package. "As you said, it was sent by Phoenix, and I didn't bring it to school. So which school rule did I violate?" Snape was speechless for a moment, and the little wizards who were watching all brightened up. So smart. The school just said that they are not allowed to bring it to school, so asking an owl to bring it over is not considered a violation of school rules, right? Many first-year students are already ready to write letters home. Snape became angry. Strong words. If you contradict the professor, Hufflepuff will deduct 5 points. At the same time, the system in Wayne's mind also sounded a prompt sound at the right time. The host deducts points for the college and gets plus 25 points. Wayne's pupils dilated slightly. This was the first time he deducted points from Hufflepuff. This ratio was exactly the same as the ratio of earning galleons. 200 points will be deducted, which is a 10-game series. In an instant, Wayne's eyes changed when he looked at Snape. Snape thought Wayne was scared, and the corners of his mouth slightly raised, revealing a rare smile. "Of course. If you are willing to share some materials on the Phoenix with me, I can cancel the punishment just now." "Yes." Snape had his eye on Wayne's bird. The reason why he came here specifically to find trouble was to obtain some materials from Phoenix. Phoenix's tears, feathers, and even blood are the main materials for refining many high-level magic potions. It can be said that the whole body is full of treasures. As a potion master, seeing a phoenix was no different than seeing a pig. It's a pity that Fawkes doesn't care about him, and Dumbledore won't go against the wishes of his own pets. Now Wayne suddenly reveals that he also has a phoenix. Where else could Snape sit? "Professor." Wayne looked at him expectantly. "You agree?" Old Bat smiled. Wayne shrugged. "No, I think the points you deducted are too few. I don't feel it." Snape. "No, you are sick." Angrily, he deducted another 15 points from Hufflepuff, and Snape left angrily. Wayne was left with a look of dissatisfaction. "Show off your spirit of deducting points from Gryffindor. You only deducted so much. Who are you looking down on?" Surrounded by a group of little badgers, Wayne returned to Hufflepuff's common room. The amount of information this morning was truly astonishing. First, the Phoenix appeared, and then Wayne bought a Nimbus 2000. For those Quidditch players, the Nimbus 2000 was simply their dream broomstick. As for Snape deducting points from Wayne, is this a thing? The only ones who really want to compete for the Academy Cup every year are Slytherin and Gryffindor. Slytherin is for the glory of pure blood. Gryffindor is for damn face, and must not lose to those stinking snakes. Ravenclaw will fight for it if there is hope, but will not put a lot of energy into it. Most of the people inside focus on their own affairs and let the collective honor take its course. This is also reflected in the Quidditch game. Only the little badger Hufflepuff's attitude is always, "What cup should I learn? College what? What college cup? If you don't create it, what does it have to do with us? Do you want points deducted? Just buckle it. In order to show my sadness, I will eat 3 more bowls in a while, okay?" This attitude makes Wayne's life very comfortable. He can do whatever he wants without anyone gossiping behind his back or causing isolation. If he had been assigned to Gryffindor, he would have started to be criticized by now. "Show me, just take a look." Seeing that class time was approaching, Cedric hugged Wayne's thigh and begged. Wayne trembled all over, kicked him away, and threw the box. "Go away quickly, don't disgust me. Be gentle, this is Nimbus 2000. Cedric took the box ecstatically, and a group of Quidditch players surrounded him, their eyes almost watering. After putting the materials in the dormitory, Wayne hurried to the history of magic classroom, deliberately avoiding the group of perverts on his way out. "I don't know what their first class is. Are you really not afraid of being late?" In the history of magic class, Cuthbert Binns performed his usual hypnotic spell, and fell half asleep in less than 10 minutes. Wayne reluctantly listened and was talking about the great impact wizards had on Muggle history. For example, in the ancient Han dynasty, the wizard Liu Zu disguised himself as a Muggle and successfully extended the life of the Han dynasty for more than 200 years. What Liu Zu is best at is refining the elixir of fortune. He takes the elixir of fortune every time before a battle, so he has good luck. The most exaggerated time was when he drank a pint of Felixir and burped with satisfaction after drinking it. Then the enemy was killed by meteorites falling from the sky. From then on, everyone also respected him as the great magister Liu Zu. Pull Wayne woke up from his sleep when he felt his sleeve being pulled. Get out of class has ended. Hermione quickly held down Wayne, who stood up and was about to leave, and whispered, Get out of class isn't over yet. Wayne slapped her hand away angrily. Then what did you tell me to do? Hermione's face turned slightly red and she said coyly, I want to touch your bird. Wayne looked at her in shock as if he couldn't believe his ears. What did you say? I want to touch your bird. The little witch looked at Wayne pitifully. Just for a moment, I will be very gentle and won't hurt her. Now it was Wayne's turn to feel embarrassed. Now. Although this bird is not of much use now, it is good to see the world in advance. Alas, Hermione really had to make such a request in class. He also had to use magic to block other people's perceptions. Of course not. The little witch rolled her eyes. How can I touch him in class? Even if Cuthbert Binns is a ghost, we can't bully him like this. Wayne follows the good deeds. You tell me the time, I can do it. Hermione thought for a while. You are going to have afternoon tea with Principal Dumbledore, so after dinner there is still a lot of time before curfew. No problem. Wayne agreed. I'll find you wherever I can. On the lawn. Exciting. Wayne's body trembled. Hermione then said, By the way, what does King Phoenix like to eat? I'll prepare some snacks for him. The young man looked at her in disbelief. Are you talking about Phoenix King? Otherwise. Hermione returned a strange look. Do you have other birds? Haha, I won't show it to you. Wayne laughed. I thought you were talking about Phoenix King. Then just finish your meal. I happen to have something to talk to you about. He just said, how could the little witch turn into a little S asterisk asterisk T? In the afternoon spells class, Wayne completed the slowing charm brilliantly, earning back half of the 20 points he had deducted in the morning. Professor Flitwick looked at Wayne's leaving back and sighed. Some people are born different from others, and are born to be the protagonist, such as Dumbledore or the Slytherin student who once won the Special Contribution Award. Wayne gradually revealed similar traits, not to mention the outrageous fact that a little wizard could have a phoenix as a pet. Wayne's magical talent alone made him particularly jealous. No spell can trouble him. In order to test Wayne's talent, Flitwick taught him a spell of his own creation. After reading it, Wayne mastered the slowing and mentally confusing spell in just 2 attempts. Why was such a good little wizard assigned to Hufflepuff? Wayne was unaware of Flitwick's resentment as he had already reached the 8th floor. The principal's office was guarded by a gargoyle. When he saw Wayne, he asked lazily, Password. Pile of cockroaches. Ugh, Tilda. The gargoyle made a very humane expression of vomiting and turned to open the door. Every time I hear this password, I feel uncomfortable for a long time. Little wizard, please tell Dumbledore to change the password quickly. I will be disgusted if I open the door every day. Let me give it a try. How about changing to a scarab? Get out, that's just... Yuck. You little wizard has no martial ethics. You are very bad. After teasing the gatekeeper statue, Wayne felt much better and walked into the passage happily. The spiral staircase inside was automatic. Wayne stood on it and was sent to the door. The door was closed, with a brass knocker in the shape of a griffin's head. From this door knocker, Wayne can feel powerful magic fluctuations. It is a very good magic prop. If a wizard attempts to force his way through the wooden door of the principal's office, it will transform into a brass griffin and attack. This kind of monster is very powerful, ranking at the 5x level, not inferior to the fire dragon. Hogwarts still has a rich heritage. Wayne sighed inwardly and had the urge to take off the door knocker and put it in his own home. He cannot make alchemy items of this level at all now, but Wayne just thought about it. After all, he can't beat Lao Dengtu. Like Cedric stroking the Nimbus 2000, Wayne played with the door knocker before pushing the door open. The principal's office is a gorgeous round room with a high ceiling and very good lighting. It is now 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the warm sunlight enters the room and shines on the gems, emitting a faint fluorescence. It's such a luxury. I'm not even that extravagant. Wayne muttered. In other parts of Hogwarts, oil lamps and candles are usually used for lighting, but when it comes to the principal's office, they are replaced by gems. Dumbledore was not in the room. Wayne casually found a soft chair and sat on it, looking at the layout of the office. The most abundant things here are undoubtedly books. Almost half of the wall is covered with bookshelves, leading directly to the roof. There is also a spiral staircase next to it for easy access. Secondly, there are the portraits on the other half of the wall. Although there was no one here, Wayne could always feel that he was being watched by many eyes. But when he turned around, the portraits showed no response, just like the Muggle portraits, motionless. Near the edge of the big desk, a stone-round basin was placed on a high stool. Wayne knew that it was the pensive, a very precious memory storage and reproduction tool. Want to go along? What to do as soon as he entered this room, Wayne felt like he wanted to take everything home with him. On the other side of the desk, there is a floor-to-ceiling mirror placed diagonally. It is very tall. Most of the mirror body is covered by velvet cloth, and only the bracket and a small part of the mirror surface are exposed. "Hey, that boy!" A sharp voice suddenly sounded, and Wayne turned around. A portrait comes to life. "You've been looking at it for a long time. Do you know what it is?" Wayne walked over and saw an old man with a goatee and a silver-green robe. The nameplate below the portrait has his introduction. Phineas Nigellus Black, 1847–1925. Wayne shook his head. "It's covered. How could I possibly know what it is?" "Humph, I don't know." Phineas stroked his goatee with an expression of extreme disgust. "That's the Mirror of Erist. Do you know what the Mirror of Erist is?" Wayne made a listening look. "He can let you see the most urgent and strongest desires deep in your heart. Do you want to know what you want most at this time?" Phineas said seductively. "Go and try it." Dumbledore has been looking at the mirror until dawn every day recently, and he is almost obsessed. Not interested. Wayne waved his hand and sat back in his seat boredly. "I want everything now, and nothing matters. It's all in vain." These words are not to fool Phineas, but a true reflection of Wayne. He was interested in everything, but his emotions were not very strong. Because Wayne knows that sooner or later he will get what he wants. It's a wall-to-wall confidence. Phineas was also caught off guard by Wayne's reaction. "No, you didn't even look at it, so you dare to talk nonsense here." Wayne glanced at him. "No wonder you are the most unpopular principal in the history of the school. No matter what the heavens and the earth, you still care whether I can look in the mirror. You deserve to be scolded for doing so many things even after you're dead." There was a brief silence in the room, and then shocking laughter erupted. Principals who were pretending to be dead finally couldn't bear it any longer, and all of them burst out laughing. A big-nosed principal even pointed at Phineas. "Blake, you have a day like this. You were scolded by a student." A chubby-looking woman clapped her hands and applauded. "As expected of our Hufflepuff little wizard, he knows who he is." "Don't laugh, don't laugh." Phineas jumped angrily. "Damn little wizard, if I were still alive, I would fire you immediately. Then come back to life." Wayne spread his hands, and prompts for earning points came to his mind one after another. "Good guy, do you get points for criticizing the former principal? And this is a good thing." Phoenix was furious at his attitude. "You brats, you Hufflepuff idiots, you'll be a chef and salesperson for the rest of your life. It's over now." Phoenix's map cannon offended all the principals from Hufflepuff. A grumpy principal couldn't help it first. He disappeared from his own photo frame and appeared in Phineas's photo frame in a blink of an eye. He raised his fist and hit Phineas on the nose. Not to be outdone, the other Hufflepuff principals rushed over to start a righteous gang fight. Phoenix screamed repeatedly, while the Gryffindor and Ravenclaw headmasters were cheering, and the Slytherin headmaster was unwilling to help. Although everyone came from the snake yard, Phineas had such a bad mouth that he almost offended everyone in less than 100 years. Wayne enjoyed the principal's brawl with a smile, nodding appreciatively from time to time. "Look at this side kick, how powerful it is, and the black tiger digging out the heart, so authentic." Sure enough, the end of the mage is close combat, the kind that doesn't even use a wand. Just as Wayne was looking enthusiastically, the door to the principal's office was pushed open. Dumbledore walked in and was stunned when he saw the chaotic scene. Then he saw the untouched flannel and looked deeply at Wayne with a smile on his face. It seems I came at the wrong time. No, Principal. Wayne shook his head. You came at the right time. If it had been any later, Principal Phineas would have been beaten to death. The current owner of the office arrived, and the portraits of past principals also sped up their movements. One of them gave Phineas a hard blow before returning to his own photo frame and continuing to pretend to be dead. Phineas, on the other hand, probably felt embarrassed and disappeared from the frame, probably running to the black ancestral home and hiding. Please take a seat, Mr. Lawrence. Dumbledore motioned for Wayne to sit across from him. Would you like something to drink? Black tea, green tea, hot cocoa. Wayne was not polite to him, just black tea. Dumbledore nodded in agreement and said happily, I also like black tea very much. Bathilda just happened to give me some Ceylon black tea. Unfortunately, both Minerva and Phileas prefer lemon tea and have never shared it with others. Dumbledore tapped the table with his wand, and a beautifully shaped teapot and teacup appeared on the table. The teapot floated up gently and poured tea for the two of them automatically. What about dessert? I recommend you try the cockroach pile. Dumbledore said, and a silver dinner plate appeared, and Wayne's expression changed. The plate was full of cockroaches, and like the chocolate frogs, they were still moving. Dumbledore picked one up, put it in his mouth, and narrowed his eyes in enjoyment. It's so explosive. Wayne's expression changed. Principal, do you have any sandwiches and macarons? Certainly. Although it was a pity that Wayne had no intention of eating the pile of cockroaches, Dumbledore still waved his wand and conjured up several sandwiches and colorful macarons. I think the appearance of the dessert is not important. What's important is its sugar content. Dumbledore blinked. Are you sure you don't want some? Wayne did not answer. Actually, according to research by Muggle scientists, good-looking food can also increase people's appetite. Principal, would you rather eat chocolate-shaped turds or turd-shaped chocolates? Dumbledore was stunned for a moment. Can you not eat it? He had to admit, both of what Wayne said were disgusting. Of course. It was Wayne's turn to laugh. You are the boss. Dumbledore smiled, too. It was a novel feeling for a student to joke with him. He could feel that Wayne was really relaxed and just treated him like an ordinary old man. Picking up the Ceylon black tea, Wayne took a sip, and his mouth was filled with the aroma of flowers. Compared with traditional Oriental black tea, Ceylon black tea has a stronger color and rich floral aroma, but lacks the sweetness and fragrance unique to tea. Each has its pros and cons. It just depends on personal taste. As Dumbledore said that morning, most of the conversation between him and Wayne revolved around the Phoenix. Apart from asking Wayne how he met the Phoenix King at the beginning, the rest was that Dumbledore was imparting some breeding experience. Wayne also patiently wrote it down. After the so-called localization of the system, Phoenix King also possesses some of the abilities of Phoenix in this world. For example, disembodiment and tears can heal injuries. There are also many similarities in taste and habits. Wayne took the opportunity to make his request and keep Phoenix King in the Forbidden Forest. Dumbledore readily agreed. Unlike an old man like me who has nothing to do, you have plenty of time to play with your pets. It's also a good choice to let them go free. The ghost has nothing to do. Wayne groaned inwardly. You old bee, I'm afraid you put most of your energy into the mirror of Erest and Harry. After talking about Phoenix, Lao Deng started talking about wool socks again. When it comes to protecting your feet, I think there is nothing more considerate than wool socks. I used to be dismissive of it, but now I can't put it down. Dumbledore blinked like an old naughty boy. I don't think any old man can refuse to receive a pair of woolen socks as a gift at Christmas. But unfortunately, everyone seems to think I prefer books. Hello, Ministry of Magic. Someone here is asking for a bribe from the little wizard. Will you just ignore it? Wayne laughed and promised that Lao Deng would be satisfied with Christmas. But what he knew was that what Lao Deng liked was not wool socks, but the meaning inside them. In the UK, woolen socks represent family ties. Dumbledore is indeed the greatest white wizard of this century, but even with his powerful magic, he cannot undo the mistakes he made in his youth. Such pain, and the one imprisoned in Nurmengard, have been tormenting him. It was already past 5 o'clock, and Wayne was about to stand up and say goodbye, returning to the auditorium to eat some food that would really fill his stomach. "Just a moment, Mr. Lawrence." Dumbledore took out a piece of parchment, danced on it, and finally handed it to Wayne. Wayne took it and saw that it was an approval note from the restricted book section. Generally speaking, the approval note for the restricted book area will have specific titles. But the one Lao Deng gave him was time-limited. There were no restrictions on what books he could borrow, and it was valid until Christmas. "You are still young, so you need to ensure adequate sleep and take appropriate night trips." Dumbledore smiled and said, "This is my reward for showing mercy to the three-headed dog. Thank you, Principal." Wayne was not the least bit embarrassed when he was caught violating school rules. "I also think it's not good to go there all the time at night. There are no lights in the restricted book area, and my eyes are almost nearsighted." Dumbledore's smile faltered. This little wizard always plays cards out of common sense. When others are caught, they often look at a loss. Why is it Wayne's turn, as if he was not the one who made the mistake? After Wayne left, calm returned to the principal's office again. However, this calm only lasted a short time, and the principals of the past generations became active again. Big-nosed Fusco smiled happily. "This little guy is so interesting, not Hufflepuff at all. He should be sorted into Gryffindor." Principal Di Lissi retorted, "Why not Ravenclaw? This little guy must have known that his actions could not be hidden from the principal. With such keen insight, who else could I have except the Eagle Ravenclaw?" "What are you talking about?" Rossiter, the principal of Hufflepuff, angrily threw an apple into Fusco's frame. "We at Hufflepuff can still cultivate outstanding talents." Dumbledore did not take part in the quarrels between the headmasters. He looked at the untouched velvet cloth and laughed dumbly. "I didn't expect. It might as well be a child." "Flowers and monthly tickets have increased a lot. Thank you, bosses, for your support. There will be another chapter soon." Leaving the headmaster's office, Wayne had no fear that all of his actions would be noticed by Dumbledore. Among the various conjectures in the past life, many regard Dumbledore as a heinous conspiracy party, but in fact, most of this conclusion is untenable. If Dumbledore is really that kind of ruthless character, he will die if he doesn't develop according to his ideas. Tom will not have a future as the Dark Lord. He was promoted by Old Deng as early as Hogwarts. Perhaps Dumbledore had changed after what happened to Voldemort, but the principle he always adhered to was guidance. He believes that as long as he gives his students more care and education, he will not make the same mistakes again. Even if Malfoy had the idea of killing him, Dumbledore would try to change him and awaken the good thoughts in his heart. Wayne is far from that bad. He went to the forbidden book area to read books, and all he read were about white magic, alchemy, or potions. There must be a lot of dangerous information in it, but it's nothing compared to real black magic. Who made Lao Deng so ruthless that even medicines like Polyjuice Potion were placed in the restricted book section? It's not entirely Wayne's fault. It's all Benzema's fault. Oh no, Voldemort. Back in the dormitory, Wayne was going to sort out the materials he bought from Diagon Alley into categories, put them away, and put them into a small bag that had been casted with a traceless stretching spell. It wasn't that he wasn't worried that his two roommates would steal it, but he was worried that they would think there was something to eat in it and accidentally eat it, which would cause big trouble. As soon as he returned to the locker room, he saw Cedric still holding the broom and looking at it. Cedric also saw him and reluctantly returned the Nimbus 2000 to Wayne. As expected of Nimbus 2000, the workmanship and texture are truly amazing, but I just don't know how it will work. "You didn't try." Wayne took the broom and looked at him doubtfully. Cedric shook his head. "Didn't I tell you everything? Let's just take a look. This is your new broom. I don't dare to try it. If it breaks, I can't even afford to sell it." Wayne patted him on the shoulder happily. "You look down on yourself so much. Just because you are the only son of the Diggory family, you are still worth the money." There was a burst of laughter in the lounge. Many people in Hufflepuff have parents who work in the Ministry of Magic, so they naturally know how precious Mr. Amos is to his son. Cedric blushed and punched Wayne's arm angrily. Go, don't tease Senior here." "Okay." Under Cedric's confused gaze, Wayne threw the broom to Diggory again. "I'll give it to you for 2 days to get familiar with it, and I'll lend it to you for the Quidditch match." Before Cedric could say anything, Quidditch Captain Watterly was the first to jump up. "Really, Wayne?" If Cedric the Seeker is given a Nimbus 2000, their chances of winning the Academy Cup will be greatly increased. Why are you lying to me? Wayne said nonchalantly. Harry has joined Gryffindor's Quidditch team, and Professor McGonagall also gave him a Nimbus 2000. What? Watterly was startled, then thought of something again and suddenly realized. I wonder why this old boy Wood is as happy as picking up 10 galleons in the past 2 days, and he is doing some secret training. It's so gloomy. Cedric tightened his grip on the broom and burst into tears. Say nothing more, Godfather. There was another burst of laughter, and Wayne was also amused. He enjoys this harmonious atmosphere very much. Compared with other colleges, Hufflepuff feels more like home, and he feels very relaxed here. However, the broomstick he planned to lend to Cedric was not this customized model. Wayne is going to buy another one and donate it directly to Hufflepuff Academy. He would not be taken advantage of like Malfoy and directly donate 6 handfuls, but he was willing to give one to the Academy. Money can't buy it, but I'm happy with it. He will deduct points from Hufflepuff in many places in the future. Although no one cared about it, Wayne couldn't help but take it as compensation in advance. After receiving the permission, Cedric didn't even eat, picked up the bag, and rushed out of the lounge to go to the Quidditch pitch for a try. Several team members and the little wizard who joined in the fun also followed. Wayne came to the auditorium, had something to eat, and was going to find Hermione. As soon as he came in, he attracted a lot of attention. Now all the teachers and students in the school know that Wayne has a phoenix as a pet, and even took advantage of the school rules to buy a Nimbus for 2,000. No matter which thing it is extremely enviable. At the guest of honor seat, Snape cut off a piece of steak and stuffed it into his mouth, chewing it hard as if he was biting Wayne. This kid would rather deduct points than make a deal with himself. So annoying, second only to Potter. Wayne. Hearing a soft voice behind him, Wayne put down his knife and fork and turned around. What's wrong, Q? Since many people went to the Quidditch pitch to look at the brooms, there were a lot of seats at Hufflepuff's dining table. Q simply sat next to Wayne, Q Shuey's eyes full of curiosity. I heard. You have a phoenix and bought Nimbus 2000. She came late in the morning. She only heard other people talk about it and didn't see the specific situation. Right. It's true. Q's eyes widened slightly. I thought it was a rumor. I picked up the phoenix and I bought the broom after taking flying lessons. Wayne said with a smile. One more confidential message for you. I lent my broom to Cedric. Ha. Q was shocked at first, and then his mouth bulged like a small puffer fish. Aren't you bullying others? Because he joined the Quidditch team, Q's family gave him a sweeping 7 stars as a reward, which was also a good broom. But compared to Nimbus 2000, it is 1 or 2 grades behind. How can this be called bullying? I'm just helping my college. Wayne defended himself. HMPH. Q snorted angrily. If you join the Quidditch team next year, I will switch to a beater and knock you off the broom. Then just wait. Wayne shrugged. He didn't have much interest in Quidditch, and he just bought a broom to enjoy the feeling of flying. Q's wish may come true. What about your bird? Can I see it? Q blinked. He has never seen a real phoenix in his life. I don't know where I'm having fun. I'll call you over later. Hermione wants to see it too. How about you two come together? Okay. On the Gryffindor table, Hermione was already staring at the table. Seeing Wayne and Q talking and laughing, he snorted angrily. Until Wayne stood up and waved to her, the little witch stood up immediately. The 2 girls followed him all the way out of the castle to the Black Lake. Wayne first introduced the 2 of them. This is Hermione Granger, the new Gryffindor this year. You can also call her Miss Know-It-All. This is Q Zhang, Ravenclaw's second-year senior and the most outstanding female seeker in the school. Both girls rolled their eyes. How can you introduce others like this? Hermione even pinched Wayne's arm angrily. This nickname was given to her by Snape. Hermione originally hated it, but now she heard Wayne say it. That would be even more annoying. With a common target to attack, Hermione and Q started to share the same hatred, and soon they knew each other. Wayne then had a thought in his mind and summoned Phoenix King over. Ever since the Phoenix King hatched, there has been a vague connection between the two, which can be sensed at any time even if they are far apart. The fire exploded, and Phoenix King flew out of it. It wasn't over yet. Fox, who had been following her since morning, also flew out. The 2 girls' eyes were shining, and they couldn't help but want to get closer. Although Wayne thinks Phoenix King is average-looking, in the eyes of Q and Hermione, he is very beautiful, especially the beautiful and soft feathers exuding a faint light. The whole bird looks full of sanctity. Fox is a little worse. It seems to be on the verge of nirvana. The luster of its hair is a little dull, but it is still full of vitality. Where did you go to play? Wayne ruffled Phoenix King's feathers and asked softly. Two birds chirped twice. Unicorn. Wayne's eyes lit up. How many are there? Chirp, chirp. Just 3, that's not bad. Wayne nodded and made up his mind to go take a look when he had time. He is also a face controller. Wayne also became interested in unicorns, pure creatures that appear in various legends. Seeing Hermione and Q still standing there without moving, Wayne waved. Come here, Phoenix King is easy to get along with, but don't touch her crown. After receiving his permission, and seeing that King Feng had no intention of objecting, the two women came forward to take a closer look and took out the snacks they had just prepared. Wayne also took out some white leaves and ash snake eggs from his pocket. Hey, Phoenix likes to eat healing herbs and fire attribute materials. This was given by Dumbledore just now, just in time to borrow flowers to offer to the Buddha. Phoenix King and Fox both ate obediently. Q and Hermione carefully reached out their hands and stroked Phoenix King's feathers. He narrowed his eyes happily. It's warm and comfortable. By the way, Dumbledore has allowed you to live in the Forbidden Forest. Wayne told King Feng, if you want to play, be careful and remember to treat others' injuries. The fun he talks about is naturally killing monsters and upgrading. The Forbidden Forest also has its own food chain. If Phoenix King acts too wantonly, it will destroy the balance inside. Chirp, chirp. Phoenix King raised his head proudly and waved his wings twice, as if you can rest assured if I do it. Wayne was speechless. I hope there won't be any trouble. Wayne, why does King Phoenix have a crown on his head but Fox doesn't? Hermione asked suddenly. Because my Phoenix is the king, Fox is not. Boast. You'll know then. The two birds flew away contentedly after eating and drinking, and Hermione and Q also had their fill. At this time, Hermione asked, you said you had something to do with me during class, tell me now. Q looked at the two of them and said, then I'll leave first. No, Wayne waved his hand. Even if you don't come today, I will still ask for your help. Q became interested. How else can I help you? In her eyes, Wayne has outstanding talent. He has mastered wandless spellcasting, and he bought Nimbus 2000 in the first grade, so he is not short of money. She really couldn't think of anything Wayne needed her help with. Wayne took out 2 pieces of thick parchment from his bag and handed one to Hermione and one to Cho. I plan to start a small business. Hufflepuff doesn't need to worry, but other colleges will need help. What's this? There is nothing on the parchment, but the decorative patterns are very beautiful. Edge of Hermione's parchment was golden red, and there were 2 majestic lions painted on the 2 opposite corners of the parchment. The autumn one has azure patterns, and the animals have turned into soaring eagles. Click with your wands. The 2 women did as he asked, and a ball of ink suddenly appeared on the originally blank parchment, and then spread quickly, turning into a map. Is this a map of Hogwarts Castle? Hermione looked at him in surprise. Yes, but this is more than just a map. As long as you are in the castle, you can observe your position and the real-time movement of the stairs. Q's curiosity also aroused. Is it so magical? Wayne shrugged. Why don't you find out if you try it? The 3 returned to the castle again, and sure enough, everyone had a mark on the map. Wayne is a badger, Hermione is a lion, and Autumn is an eagle. As they move, the icons move too. When she came to the stairs, Hermione checked and found that the running pattern of the stairs was exactly the same as what was shown on the map. Even when they were about to set foot on that testy staircase, a reminder appeared on the map not to run or step hard. That's amazing, Q exclaimed, then looked at Wayne. Did you do this? Of course. Wayne was a little proud. I have been studying it for more than a week. Q clapped in agreement. Wayne, you are great. With this map, I will never be late again. Hermione fell silent. She studied extremely hard during this period just to catch up with Wayne, but looking at this map, she felt a little desperate. How could it be possible to catch up with such a monster? With a strong sense of novelty, Cho and Hermione walked up and down the stairs. Even Filch was startled. However, seeing that the three of them were just taking a normal walk and did not violate school rules, they could only follow them suspiciously for a while before leaving unwillingly. What surprised Cho and Hermione even more. When Filch appears in the corridor, a marker will appear on the map. How is this done? Q asked in surprise. Marking magic and tracking, dynamic visualization, and some potions knowledge. You actually put a curse on Filch. Hermione frowned subconsciously. Don't say it so harshly. Wayne spread his hands. I didn't invade his privacy. Didn't I see that his name wouldn't be shown except in the corridor or auditorium? In fact, it was because he was not good at studying and had too few areas that he could take care of. For the entire map, Wayne also drew inspiration from the Marauders map, but the production method was slightly different. Although he doesn't know the specific principle of the Marauders map, after studying it for so long, Wayne can roughly understand it. I also admire Harry's father and Sirius from the bottom of my heart. Although his character was not very good when he was in school, his talent was indeed good. The essence of Marauders map is a contract. These guys must have found the magical core of Hogwarts, or the Book of Acceptance. All students who graduate from here will leave their mark and be shown on the map. But Wayne is just a newbie who has just entered the magical world and cannot do this. His bankrupt version of the Marauders map uses a combination of tracking spells and marking magic to display it on the map in a timely manner. Although Q was born in Ravenclaw, he was not interested in these things. Instead, it was Hermione who chased Wayne and asked questions for a long time. In the end, I gave up when I realized that I couldn't understand it anymore. So, you just want to sell this map? The little witch played with the map and couldn't put it down. Yes, and there is more than just this kind of map. There are 3 types in total. This is the Promax version for you, Wayne said as he took out a few more maps from his pocket. Hermione and Q both stared at Wayne's pocket. From the snacks at the beginning to the map later, how much stuff is packed in this small place. It must have been a traceless extension spell. Both little witches had guesses, but neither one said anything and continued to listen to Wayne's introduction. The regular version only has map functions and the movement rules of the stairs. The Pro version has positioning function and route planning. You can set a route that saves time and trouble to reach your destination. For the version you have, it is the Promax version. It has the above functions, and most importantly, it also has the positioning of Filch and Mrs. Norris. Hermione opened her small mouth. There are so many tricks that can be played on one map. How long is Wayne's head? The two tested the other 2 versions separately. As Wayne said, the Pro version only needs to click the destination with the wand to plan the route, which is very convenient. In addition to functions, the 3 maps also look different. The regular version is just plain parchment paper, just a little thicker. The Pro version has the logo of each college and beautiful patterns. As for Promax, it was carefully made by Wayne, using his own painting proficiency, and it looks high-end and classy. Is there a more advanced version? Of course. Wayne rubbed his hands and smiled happily. The next step up is the customized version for VIP customers. What is Miss Granger interested? Ah. Hermione paused, saw Wayne's reaction, and asked tentatively, "What's the price of these maps?" The normal version is 5 sickles, the Pro version is 1 galleons, and the Promax, 10 galleons. So expensive. Hermione lost her voice and felt a little abrupt, so she quickly added, "The regular version is not expensive, but the other 2 are. I think it's not bad." Q said suddenly, "If I were to exchange 1 gallon for a map like this, I would hesitate, but I would still buy it in the end." Why? Hermione was a little confused. "You are already in your 2nd year. You should have memorized all the roads, right? It's not that simple." Q smiled bitterly. "In fact, I was late twice last week. The rules of the school stairs are really difficult to remember. If you are not careful, you will go wrong. It is really very energy-consuming." Is it really that difficult? Miss Granger was still a little doubtful. Wayne looked at her speechlessly. Do you really think anyone has a memory as strong as hers? Not to mention Q, even those senior students often take the wrong path, and they still don't recognize it even after graduation. Okay, since you all think so. Hermione could only agree with the 2 of them. How can we help you? It's very simple. Wayne smiled and said, "Go with your friends or roommates during class tomorrow. Use the map to navigate and let them see the functions clearly. If asked, you can explain it. For every copy sold, I can give you 30% of it. I don't want your money. Q shook his head. You just said you asked me for help. If you accept money, it will become an employment relationship. It's just such a simple thing, just leave it to me. Hermione also said seriously, it's just a small matter. When the promotion is finished, I will return the map to you. 10 galleons, I can't afford that. Don't refuse in a hurry. Wayne comforted the two of them. This is a cooperation in the first place, and sharing is a matter of course. Hermione, you should understand the principle of distribution according to work. As for Q, you are the only Ravenclaw student I know. Without your help, my map would have been sold for at least 1/3 less, so you can take the money with peace of mind. Q still wanted to refuse, but Wayne suddenly covered her mouth. A smirk appeared on the corner of the young man's mouth, and he said softly, Q, you don't want your academy to lose to Hufflepuff, do you? As long as you promise me, you can make your own money and exchange it for a light wheel worth 2,000 tilde. Looking at the young man's handsome face so close, without any flaws, Q's heart couldn't help but beat wildly, and a blush flew to her cheeks. On the sidelines, Miss Know-It-All was about to explode. What are you doing? In the end, Wayne achieved his goal. Both of them agreed to his share ratio and returned to the dormitory with the map. This guy is so bad. He keeps tempting them with their weak points. Autumn really wanted to get a better broom through her own efforts, and Hermione also wanted to buy more books. The library could only borrow one book at a time, and some books had to be queued up to borrow, which simply couldn't meet Hermione's needs. The two of them still succumbed to Garen's temptation. Of course, there is no need to return these two maps. These are Wayne's entry gifts to them. In her busy schedule, Hermione originally wanted to tell Wayne about Harry's duel with Malfoy and get his opinion, but she forgot about it. With a lot of swords and music in front of you, who has time to take care of the naughty kid? The next day, it was rare for Hermione to get up early. On weekdays, Miss Zuber gets up at 6:30 every day, washes up, and reads in the common room for an hour before going to eat. This kind of behavior among Gryffindors can only be matched by Percy. In order to promote the map today, she specially stayed in bed and waited for everyone to wake up and take action together. Her roommates didn't pay any attention to Hermione's abnormality. It was normal to sleep in. After finishing breakfast, the group of people walked towards it. Their first class is the Charms class. The classroom is located on the 4th floor. The stairs here have two running patterns. Only by observing for a while can you determine which one is being used today. Hermione knew her chance had come. No need to observe, I have a simpler way. Hermione coughed slightly, and Parvati, Patil, and Lavender Brown all looked at her. What do you mean, sincerely? The little witch took out the map and clicked it with her wand, and the map appeared. Then she clicked on the icon of the Charms classroom. Look, you can go up the next staircase directly. 3 will take us to a nearby place. Several of her roommates were attracted by this magical scene and put their heads over it. Really, the movement trajectories of these stairs are exactly the same as in reality. Hermione, where did this map come from? This is made by Wayne, look. The little witch is very eloquent and can introduce all the advantages of the map in just a few words. Now Parvati and the others found it even more fun and were not in a hurry to go to the classroom, so they asked Hermione to take them up the stairs with a map for a test. It's breakfast time now, and there are a lot of little wizards in the corridor. Seeing their strange behavior, other people came over with curiosity. It wasn't until class was about to begin that Hermione grabbed a few roommates and hurried to the Charms classroom. Since Hermione came with her roommate today, Wayne couldn't sit at the same table with her, so he went to the other side of the classroom with his roommate Toby. In class, Flitwick explained the repair spell to be learned today and let the students practice it freely. Taking this opportunity, Harry and Ronald deliberately threw the broken wooden stick at Hermione's feet and came over. Harry asked softly, Hermione, does Wayne have another map like this? Neville at the front table also turned around and looked at the little witch expectantly. They all have difficulty getting up and are stupid, so being late does not happen once or twice. Especially Neville, no one in the entire Hogwarts needed such a map more than him. The little fat man looked at Hermione as if he were a savior. Hermione said, Yes, I bought this one. Neville said excitedly, That's great. I don't have to be late at last. The premise is that you remember to bring a map when you go out. Ronald complained and asked the question he was most concerned about. How much does a map cost? 10 galleons. Ronald's voice suddenly became louder and half of the classroom heard it. Seize the young master. Professor Flitwick noticed the movement here and came over. Gentlemen, we are in class now. If you want to chat, you can choose the break time. Weasley, what happened to you just now? No, it's okay. Ronald lowered his head in panic, but Flitwick had already seen the map Hermione took out. Staring at Ronald fiercely, Hermione could only apologize. Sorry, Professor, we won't talk about anything else. Just pay attention next time. Flitwick nodded, but can you explain to me what this is? When Hermione showed off, Flitwick's eyes lit up. Tracking spells, marking spells, well. There are also hiding spells, solidifying runes, and anti-theft spells. What a genius idea. Miss Granger, you say this is Mr. Lawrence's work? Yes, Professor. Okay, that's great. There was relief and regret in Flitwick's eyes. Why is Mr. Ming's little wizard working hard? Just for this map, I would also give Hufflepuff 20 points. I simply can't imagine that this is a work that a freshman can make. Flitwick excitedly went away to discuss the magic spells used on the map, leaving Harry and Ronald stunned. Neville also admired Wayne very much and planned to buy a map after class. 10 galleons was 10 galleons. He was not short of money. Although Neville's grandma is very strict, she's also very kind to him. For example, the previous memory ball was a very advanced alchemy prop. At noon, as soon as Wayne came to the auditorium and sat down, students came from all directions, noisily asking about the map. Except for Slytherin, there are ones from every house. Most of them are junior wizards, but there are also some senior students. Q's promotion method was different from Hermione's. She took it out directly during the Ravenclaw break and showed it to everyone. When Get Out of Class was over just now, she even showed off the function of marking Filch. Now more people are tempted. Especially for senior students, there are basically no students in Hogwarts who do not go out at night. The curfew started at 9 o'clock in the evening. How could these over-energetic little wizards have enough time? With maps, security can be greatly improved. Wayne didn't expect the effect to be so good. Being surrounded by water, he could only shout, "Don't be anxious, everyone. The time at noon is too short, and I don't have enough maps with me. If you need it, come to the side hall next to the auditorium after class in the afternoon to ensure sufficient supplies." After hearing what Wayne said, they left with satisfaction. At this time, Cedric came over, licked his face, and said, "Father, please make it cheaper. 1 gallon is a big deal." Roll. Okay. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the side hall in front of the freshman branch had changed its appearance, and a huge banner was floating in the air. Celia Mystery, sharp grand opening. Our slogan is, "Today is another day full of expectations." Although they didn't understand what this slogan meant, everyone didn't realize it, and honestly paid the money and delivered the goods. Among the 3 styles of maps, most people choose the ordinary version, which is enough with the stair trajectory. However, Wayne also said before selling it that he was not good at craftsmanship, and the magic power on a map could only last for 1 school year. It will expire next semester. It is true that one is not good in one's studies, but it is also necessary to be able to catch all the benefits in a sustainable way. This rate of loss was calculated and intentional by him. If it hadn't been calculated that the little wizard's wallet was limited and he couldn't spend too much money on the map, he would definitely become a consumable item that goes bad once a month. Wayne is responsible for delivering goods, Q is responsible for collecting money, and Hermione is responsible for accounting. The 3 of them worked for more than an hour before finally no one came to buy the map. Quickly do the math. How much money do you have? Hermione's face turned red with excitement. I've been counting. There are a total of 120 galleons and 650 sickles. Wayne, you are so awesome. You made so much money in 1 afternoon. Q looked at Wayne with admiration. Her annual pocket money was only 20 galleons, and her parents' monthly salary combined was about the same amount. One day that Wayne worked would cost her 7 years of living expenses at Hogwarts. That's not how the bill was settled. Wayne shook his head, not as happy as the 2 women. I have been busy working on these maps for a week. The material cost is also money. The most important thing is that fewer and fewer people will buy our maps in the future. You're right. Hermione thought that this was indeed the case, but she was still very happy. She looked at the account and said excitedly, "Those Slytherins haven't come much yet. They're really rich." Of those maps sold, only 6 were sold to Slytherins, but without exception, these people bought the Poor Max version. Apart from them, only 2 people bought the most expensive version. One is Harry, and the other is Neville. After making so much money from the Slytherin snakes, Hermione actually thought they weren't so hateful anymore. For wealthy, purebred dog owners, money is not an issue. Being able to highlight the difference between their identity and others is what they pursue. Come on, share the money." Wayne waved his hand and led the 2 little witches into an abandoned classroom. More than 100 galleons and hundreds of sickles were poured on the table, glittering with gold and silver, which dazzled their eyes. 650 galleons. Let's convert it to 40 galleons. It's easy to calculate. It's a total of 160 galleons. Come on, 24 per person, keep it. Wayne quickly calculated and pushed a handful of gold coins in front of the 2 little witches. Is it really appropriate to take so much? Q hesitated. I really didn't help much. This is what we promised before, and we are not allowed to go back on it. Wayne refused to refute and directly stuffed the money into their pockets. There will be more products in the future, and I will need your help when the time comes. I can't handle it all by myself. Wayne really doesn't care about the money. His points are calculated based on the selling price of the items. As long as the little wizard spends 1 galleon, 5 points will be credited immediately. Seeing his resolute attitude, Q and Hermione looked at each other and had no choice but to agree. Slytherin Lounge. Freshman Blaze Zabini is showing off a map he just bought. Did you see it? This map can show Filch's location. Why is this stupid squib hanging around on the 3rd floor like a headless fly? A group of students gathered around him and found it very interesting. Zabini, where did this come from? Bought it from Lawrence. Zabini raised his head proudly. It's not expensive, only 10 galleons. It's really not expensive. Others present nodded. I don't know if some of them are sincerely saying 960 or if they are just pretending. Even if you really think it's expensive at this time, you can't show it. You must support the glory of pure blood. Snort. Looking at Zabini surrounded by the crowd, Malfoy snorted with envy and jealousy. He deserves this kind of treatment, own. Malfoy is the invisible prefect of the first year. What the hell, didn't you just spend some money? Malfoy muttered and cursed. It's that Lawrence again. Unlike Harry, who simply disliked Harry, Malfoy had pure contempt and jealousy for Wayne. He was born as a mudblood, but he was actually much smarter than a pureblood like him, and he was praised by the professors every day. What bad map has been created now has once again become the focus of discussion among the students. Even the young master of the Malfoy family did not receive such treatment. Walk. Malfoy stood up angrily. Crabbe asked blankly, "Where to go?" "Go to Lawrence and buy a map. The Slytherin Lounge is in the basement like Hufflepuff, but they are closer to the Black Lake. To get to Hufflepuff's lounge, you need to go to the auditorium first and then go down again." Before the curfew, Malfoy also wanted to buy a map. Although he didn't want to give money to Wayne, he had to have what others had. Otherwise, what if others think that the Malfoy family has declined? After finding a Hufflepuff student and asking him to call Wayne out, Malfoy waited with his 2 followers. Soon, Wayne came out. Wayne happened to be chatting with Cedric in the lounge. Cedric was very interested in the manifestation spell on the map, which was very different from what he had learned. This was an improved version that Wayne found from the forbidden book area. He was not stingy and gave the spell to Cedric. "Malfoy, do you have a problem with me?" Malfoy was still so slender and raised his chin. Unfortunately, he was shorter than Wayne and could only look up at him. "Do you still have the maps you sell? Give me one, the most expensive one in the country. Promax version." Malfoy waved his hand impatiently. "It's the one that can mark Filch's location. Hurry up." "Yes, of course there is. Just wait until I go back and get it for you." After Wayne finished speaking, he went back to the lounge to get the map and returned 5 minutes later. After seeing the map, Malfoy didn't want to talk to Wayne anymore. He just paid the money and prepared to leave. At this moment, Wayne's sneer came from behind. "The Malfoy family is nothing more than that. They can only use the same things as others." "What do you mean, Lawrence?" Malfoy turned around. Wayne's voice was neither loud nor quiet, but enough for him to hear clearly. The 11-year-old boy actually had a cold expression on his face. I can understand that you are provoking my Malfoy family. Wayne was unmoved, and Little Bear spread his hands. Am I not telling the truth? I originally thought that a big customer was here, but I ended up buying this most ordinary map. I'm so happy for nothing. Ordinary. Malfoy looked at the parchment in his hand, somewhat confused. Exquisite python pattern, green lace also reveals a little bit of gold, obviously sprinkled with gold powder. Isn't this the most expensive version? Did he buy the wrong one? Lawrence, what do you mean? Malfoy asked again. Do you have anything better? Certainly. Wayne looked at him in surprise. The 28 pureblood families are the nobles among wizards. Shouldn't the things they use be customized? After all, as a Muggle noble, everything in my home is specially customized. Isn't that what you are doing? Who says otherwise? Malfoy said anxiously. Our Malfoy family is a noble family, so of course we use the best. My dad's crutch was specially customized by the alchemist master. Malfoy felt slightly ashamed. If you think about it carefully, although most of his items are top-notch, they are not custom-made. Damn it, being compared to this Muggle. Lawrence, don't just say what you say. Malfoy shook the map in his hand angrily. You didn't tell me there was a customized version. How much does it cost? I want it. It turns out I misunderstood. Wayne showed an appropriately apologetic smile. I do have customized models here, and they will be customized according to the needs of customers. Different grades naturally use different materials. Brother Yan said proudly. Of course it is the best. Wayne smiled happily. Sincerely pays you 200 galleons. Malfoy almost jumped up. Why don't you go and grab it? Listen to me first about the ingredients, and then you draw conclusions. Wayne asked him to calm down and then started. Sales pitch. The top grade uses not sheepskin, but dragon skin, and the map ink is also the highest grade king squid ink. It not only does not change color, but also quickly poisons with a faint poisonous gas. App will also have the crest of the Malfoy family and the logo of Slytherin tattooed on it, all made of the finest unicorn feathers. Finally, Wayne asked, do you still think this is expensive? It's too cheap, Malfoy replied subconsciously, and then immediately reacted. No, it's not expensive. It's very reasonable. Don't just raise the price. We are all nobles. I am a Muggle noble, and you are a wizard noble. The Gui clan cannot do anything like sitting on the ground and raising the price. Wayne said arrogantly. This kind of performance made Malfoy feel at ease. This is the style I want. I want the top map. Here is a deposit of 50 galleons. Malfoy took out all the galleons he had. His pocket money for one semester was only 100 galleons. He had spent a lot before, and what he had on hand was no longer enough. But you can't let Wayne know, otherwise he will get slapped again. I could only use the deposit as an excuse and write home all night asking for money. Asking his father for money would definitely get him lectured, so Malfoy planned to ask his mother, Narcissa, for the money. To Malfoy's surprise, Wayne had no intention of taking it. Instead, he looked at him angrily. What do you mean? A deposit is required for transactions between nobles. You are insulting me. Take the money and come to me for the map in 2 days. After speaking, Wayne didn't wait for Malfoy to say anything else, turned around and knocked on the barrel a few times before getting back into the lounge. It seemed like he was really angry. Gore suddenly became happy. Master Malfoy, do you think this man is stupid? He doesn't even want to pay him. No wonder he was assigned. A job. Shut up. Malfoy was furious and suppressed Goyle's next words with a cannibalistic look. What do you know? This is a transaction between nobles. Don't judge Lawrence with your ordinary thoughts. Is it possible that the Malfoy family will waste this 100 galleons? Malfoy had been completely deceived, and Wayne's remarks about the nobility just hit his heart like a sharp sword. Son, with the name of the Malfoy family, Wayne can be trusted so much. How could a fool like Goyle understand the secret? After looking at the two idiots with disgust, Malfoy left. He now feels that calling Wayne a mudblood is a bit too much. Even Muggle nobles are nobles and cannot be insulted. Well, it's decided. I'll call him Lawrence from now on. In the lounge, Wayne was almost having cramps from laughing. Cedric was standing there, his head empty. You mean, you used this rhetoric to sell the map for 100 galleons? When Wayne came back just now, he just casually asked why Malfoy came to see him. But after listening to Wayne's story, Cedric felt that his world view had collapsed. Are there really such stupid people in the world? Cedric said speechlessly. Don't laugh. You didn't even ask for a deposit. Aren't you afraid that he will regret it after he goes back? You still don't understand what Malfoy really wants. Wayne reluctantly suppressed his smile, shook his head, and looked at him sadly. You still don't understand that those purebloods don't care about money or small money, but what they care about is uniqueness and the feeling of being superior to others. Believe it or not, the rhetoric I just told you would be fooled even by old Malfoy. I don't believe it, Cedric said harshly. There is no wizard in the world who doesn't regard money as money. Then take a gamble. Just bet. Cedric also took the bait and made a bet with Wayne. Once the deal is finally done, he's going to jump on Hufflepuff's dining room table and do a twerk dance. If it doesn't work out, let Wayne perform a bit. But even if he wins, Cedric is still the original wife of the United States. Wayne has already earned more than 100 galleons, and there will definitely be considerable income in the future. With so much money, how many Charlie Cannon peripherals can he buy? Cedric. Wayne suddenly said, Do you want to learn how to make maps? Cedric was stunned for a moment and said, What do you mean you want to teach me? Whether you want to learn or not, if you want to learn, I will teach you. No, it's true. Cedric was startled. Wayne, aren't you afraid that I will start selling maps after I learn it? Can you? Wayne asked. Of course not. Cedric shook his head. Not to mention that he and Wayne are very good friends now. Even if they weren't, he wouldn't do anything to steal people's business. There are conditions for teaching you. Wayne stated his purpose. If you learn how to make a map, you will work for me, and you will get 20% of each map. Wayne's previous inventory was running low, especially the most basic maps, which were basically sold out. He had to stay up late tonight to restock. A lot of practice can indeed improve your alchemy experience, but too much repetition is of no use. Anyway, now Wayne has mastered all the magic spells and alchemy principles used to make maps, and making any more maps is just a waste of time. Instead of doing this, it's better to outsource it layer by layer so that you can be free to learn other magic. His purpose is to earn points, not to make money. He could just go to Gringotts and exchange this little money for some gold. Originally, Wayne wanted to ask Hermione for help, but the little witch had just entered school and was still far away from meeting his requirements. Looking at it this way, Xyrosai is quite suitable. As for whether Cedric will learn to turn against others, Wayne still has many ideas in his mind, and the map is just a test method. If Cedric really does this, he will only lose more. I did it. Upon hearing Wayne's request, Cedric agreed without hesitation. 20% doesn't sound like much, but after one school year, it amounts to dozens of galleons, which is much more than his pocket money. The most important thing is that he can learn a lot from Wayne. This is what Cedric values. He has now fully realized that the little wizard in front of him is a pervert. He has mastered more magic and is more powerful than him when he first entered school. Then let me check your background first. Wayne asked a few questions to test Cedric. After asking and answering, he nodded. Something, but not much. Cedric, who was sitting opposite, had black lines all over his head. You can't be more tactful. After all, I am also your senior. Can you save some face? Wayne took out the parchment, wrote down the spell to be used, and gave it to Cedric. You learn these spells first and leave the other work to me. Is that okay? After a quick glance, Cedric nodded. Just give me a week and that's about it. Okay, you have to hurry up, otherwise when the time comes, everyone will have a copy, and it will be of no use even if you learn it. I'll try my best. Cedric's face fell. You don't know, Watterly has gone crazy. The original training twice a week has become 5 times a week. I really can't stand it anymore. Wayne waved his hand. You can figure it out yourself. In the following days, although the business was not as hot as the first day, Wayne was able to sell a lot of maps every day. Malfoy's attitude towards Wayne has improved a lot since he came that night, and he even nodded. As soon as the money from home arrived, it was delivered before it was even warmed. Of course, Wayne did not disappoint him. Looking at the exquisite map made of dragon skin, it also had anti-peeping, anti-theft, and other functions. Malfoy, who was still a little sore at the moment, felt that the money was well spent. Show off in front of other purebloods. Wayne wished he did this. Because of this free tap, he received 5 more customized versions, and more than 10 Promax versions, all from Slytherin. Wayne wanted to split the money between Hermione and Q, but they wanted nothing more. Being able to sell it is all due to Wayne's own ability and has nothing to do with them at all. Wayne no longer forced himself. When Cedric witnessed this transaction with his own eyes, his face looked like he was constipated. With a dark face, he jumped up to Hufflepuff's long table and started posing, twisting his butt, and all the little wizards were stunned. Professor Sprout couldn't stand it anymore and locked him up for 2 days with gold coins to fertilize the plants in the greenhouse. Under Cedric's sad and indignant gaze, Wayne, like everyone else, burst into laughter. It's week 5. Wayne received a letter from an owl while he was having breakfast. He opened the envelope strangely. Wayne, I have found a lot of materials you need recently. We can come and have a cup of afternoon tea together tomorrow. Of course, it would be great if you are willing to bring Phoenix with you. Seeing that the signer was Hagrid, Wayne also smiled. This is not an invitation to him. This is an invitation to King Feng. However, Wayne didn't intend to refuse. He had indeed used a lot of materials in his recent practice of making props, so he could just add some more. Feeling that someone was staring at him, Wayne looked up. Snape, who was sitting at the guest table, didn't eat either and just looked at Wayne. He had made several insinuations in the past few days just to get some Phoenix information from Wayne. As a result, this brat couldn't make any progress, and after deducting his points a few times, he became even happier. No, he must be sick. See, Lee Kynes, Snape, and Bai Si are displeased with his sister. How come there are still young wizards who are not afraid of deducting points as punishment and are still looking forward to it? In the afternoon potions class, Snape, tentatively, deducted 15 points from Wayne. Hufflepuff's little wizard is already used to strange things. Now many students know that Snape hates Harry the most, followed by Wayne. The two of them didn't know when their feud started, but every day Snape would find some reason to deduct some points from Wayne. Just deduct it, the Academy Cup is not interesting, and there is no such thing as being at the bottom. After all, there is a Gryffindor. Oh no, it's Gran Turismo, the points are gone. When he saw Wayne smiling like a flower, Snape finally gave up. Letter 3005, Lawrence. How on earth did you hand over those materials to me? Did you use it all to make those stupid maps? After class, leaving Wayne alone, Snape spoke. Wayne's act of selling maps could not be hidden from the professor at all. In addition to Professor Flitwick's praise, other teachers also praised him ravely, because they did not know that Filch's whereabouts. Nowadays, fewer and fewer little wizards are late. Even if they are late, it definitely has nothing to do with getting lost. This also saves the professors a lot of worry. Therefore, Snape recently deducted points from Wayne, and other professors added them back to Wayne. Over and over again, the amount added was actually much more than the amount deducted. Professor, Wayne smiled shyly. I have indeed collected a lot of materials recently, including tears, feathers, feces, all of which contain celery. Snape's breathing was a little heavier. It's all good stuff. It's useless for you to keep it, and it would be a waste of money if you sell it. Leave it to me, and I can give you a share of the refined potion, and you will not be deducted points within 2 months. Snape was good at teaching. Frankly speaking, Snape was very sincere. As a young potion master, the potions he carefully refines are also being snatched up by the outside world, and the quality and level are absolutely guaranteed. But Wayne wanted more. Professor, what do you think of my potion talent? Snape nodded slightly and said with a hint of disdain, I can barely see it, which is much better than those idiots. This sentence came from Snape's mouth, which was already a great comment. He had recently tried every means to find fault with Wayne, but he had never made any mistakes in refining the potion because Wayne followed the production process he left behind every step of the way. Even if there are deviations from the content in the book, Wayne does not hesitate to use the process he teaches, unlike some idiots who regard the contents of the book as truth. Wayne wasn't angry either. His potion talent was A+, and Snape was definitely S or even plus. Even Voldemort relied on him to refine some potions, which showed how high his level was. Wayne smiled and stood a little further away. He was afraid that a few drops of oil would fall from Snape's hair. Professor, I have learned all the content in the class recently. Even the first and second grade textbooks are not difficult. I feel that my talent is a bit wasted. You want tutoring? Snape subconsciously wanted to refuse. He is extremely busy in class every day. There are 10 classes in grade 1 to 5. After passing the Always exam, potions become elective, so there are only 2 classes in grades 6 and 7. In addition, he had to help Dumbledore keep an eye on Quirrell, so he had very little personal time. But he really wanted those materials. Especially Phoenix Tears, used alone, is already the top healing medicine, and its effect far exceeds that of Bai Xian essence. Then pass through his hands and refine it into a magic potion, which can save you as long as you have a breath. He once asked Dumbledore for some, but the Phoenix refused to cry. What could he do? First show me the materials you collected. Snape finally couldn't resist the temptation and wanted to see the goods before making a decision. Wayne was already prepared. He reached into his pants pocket and fiddled with it for a while and pulled out a dragon's skin bag. Snape gave him a deep look. The traceless stretching spell is not a difficult spell, but it is still relatively difficult for outstanding students who are about to graduate. He mastered 637 in the 3rd grade, but Wayne has only been in school for less than a month. Wayne poured out the contents of the dragon's skin bag. A few feathers, a delicate crystal bottle filled with some liquid, and a transparent jar filled with feces. Picking up the feather and feeling the abundant magic and slightly hot feel on it, Snape smiled with satisfaction. But when he saw the liquid in the crystal bottle, he was dissatisfied. Why so little? The corner of Wayne's mouth twitched. Professor, this is a lot. All I collected this week is here, and I haven't left any for myself. How much more do you want? Snape asked tentatively. A pint. Wayne rolled his eyes. Kill me, a pint of Phoenix tears. These are tears, not saliva. Snape also felt that he was going too far, so he changed his mind and said, Give me another bottle of this much, and I can tutor you for a month. No, 1 year. 1 year, Snape sneered. How dare you say that? Do you know how much it costs for those potion companies to hire me to instruct their pharmacists? How much does it cost to buy the tears of a phoenix? 2 months at most. Until Easter. After a lot of bargaining, we finally decided on a time before Christmas, where Wayne would come to Snape for lessons every Tuesday night. And Wayne also needs to give him 2 more bottles of the same amount of Phoenix tears. Having achieved his goal, Wayne left happily. For Neville and Harry, Snape was definitely not a good teacher. All kinds of verbal humiliation and bad relationships made them unable to listen to the class at all. But Wayne wasn't afraid of this. Every time Snape pointed out his problem, it was the most critical point, which was extremely efficient. The time before Christmas was enough for him to learn a lot. The only regret is that my potion talent is a bit low. A+ talent is indeed enough, but Wayne, who has experienced SS-level talent learning spells and various white magic efficiency, knows that the gap is too big. System, open the panel. Without looking at other attributes, Wayne directly scrolled to the bottom. Points, 6508, Wayne sighed. Thanks to the big guys in Slytherin, without them, it would have been impossible for my points to grow so fast. At least half of them are the points earned by those sly, Adad, Teelin little wizards who bought the map. Oh, by the way, Snape deducted several points from him recently and made a great contribution. The rest were obtained by Wayne himself, who usually violated school rules and made mischief. Quirrell took up most of this part, and now defense against the dark arts has become Wayne's favorite class, no one. If nothing else, the more than 100 points for each class were enough to make him laugh out loud. I used all my points in the evening, hoping to get something good. Previously, Wayne was planning to buy a bottle of Felixir and drink it before drawing a lottery, but the system also prompted him. It is not affected by any external force and relies purely on the host's own luck. Wayne gave up the idea. Wayne had already wasted a lot of time because of bargaining with Snape, so he simply didn't go back to the common room and went directly to the great hall to eat. Then I saw Harry and Malfoy standing at the door like the 2 door guards without going in, looking at each other affectionately from a distance of 2 meters. Ronald also glared at Malfoy's 2 followers fiercely. The intense collisions can spark sparks. What are you doing? Wayne asked curiously, and then a few people came back to their senses. It's nothing, Lawrence. Malfoy nodded to Wayne, no longer stalemate with Harry, and whispered in his ear before leaving. Don't be so scared that you wet your pants and don't dare to come. Although he felt that his voice was very low, Wayne could still hear it clearly with his hearing, and his heart moved. Is this a duel? Oh no, it wasn't a duel. Wayne remembered that Malfoy had tricked Harry and the others, so he didn't go and told Filch instead. Wayne, Malfoy actually said hello to you. Harry also retracted his gaze from Malfoy's leaving back and looked at Wayne in surprise. Not only him, but Ronald also complained. Malfoy's eyes are in his nostrils. He can't see anyone except pure blood. Could it be that his eyes fell out today? Maybe because you bought my map. It would be nice to say hello. Wayne waved his hand. What were you talking about just now? We almost got into a fight. Nothing, Ronald, Harry said in unison, looked at each other, and Harry quickly added, he just laughed at my scar again, and I said something back. You know, Malfoy is too arrogant. Okay, I'm going to eat first. Wayne nodded nonchalantly, said hello, and left. Don't care about these trivial matters. If Harry took the initiative to say it, Wayne might even mention it and tell them that Malfoy might be playing tricks, and they should be careful if they go. But if you don't say it, you can only ask for blessings. The auditorium is very lively. Tomorrow is the first open day of Hogwarts this semester. Young wizards in 3rd grade and above can go to Hogsmeade for a day. It is also the only village in the UK that is composed entirely of wizards. Although it is not as lively as Diagon Alley, it is also unique. Especially the proprietress of the 3 broomsticks. Many little wizards go there and order a glass of butter beer and watch it all day long. Wayne, you're here. Is there anything you need me to bring you tomorrow? Seeing Wayne coming to eat, Cedric asked aloud. Buy me some ink and products from Zuko's joke shop. Wayne whispered. The props for Zuko's joke shop are all on Filch's list, and this should not be publicized loudly. Cedric naturally understood, and his voice was also low. What do you want? Go back and make a list for me. No, just buy 2 of the same. So many. Cedric was surprised. Are you trying to trick Filch to death? I used it for research. You thought I was Fred and George. Wayne rolled his eyes, tapped his wand on the table, and whispered, I need a cup of black tea. Call out. A steaming cup of black tea appeared in front of him. The products in Zuko's joke shop are partly magic potions and partly alchemy props, and Wayne can also learn a lot. I'll try my best. Cedric rubbed his hands. He was afraid of being seen after buying so many things. How are you doing with your spell learning? It's almost done. I've mastered it roughly. I'll teach you how to make maps that Sunday. Okay. While eating and chatting with Cedric, he saw Hermione sitting on the long table of Gryffindor holding a pile of books. Wayne went to find her after eating. I'm going to Hagrid's place for afternoon tea tomorrow. Do you want to go? Hermione tilted her head and thought about it. She could finish her homework in the morning. She originally wanted to go to the library with Wayne in the afternoon, and drinking tea was not a problem. So the little witch nodded. Okay, what time should we go? Wayne said. Let's go to 2 o'clock. You do your homework in the morning, and I'll go there after copying it at noon. Hermione slapped him angrily. I won't lend it to you. I will do my own homework. Oh, you should also learn the armor spell yourself. Wayne said nonchalantly, but Hermione became anxious. How can you go back on your word? Didn't everyone agree yesterday? Hermione knew that Wayne had many spells, and after grinding for several days, she finally took out some useful information from him. He actually wants to regret it. Seeing the little witch's anxious look, Wayne also teased her with a wicked smile. I revoked my consent, can't I? No, I won't teach anymore. I won't teach anymore unless you give me the homework to copy. Wayne started to act rogue. Hermione gritted her teeth angrily, but there was nothing she could do to him, so she finally gave in angrily. If it were anyone else, Hermione would not hand in her homework if she would rather not learn new spells. But Wayne, anyway, he knows everything the teacher taught in class, so just copy it. Satisfied with the benefits, Wayne left the Gryffindor table under Hermione's push, then went to Ravenclaw next door. Since he called Hermione, Q couldn't be left behind. But unfortunately, Q has to participate in Quidditch training in the afternoon. Wayne looked surprised. Tomorrow isn't Hogsmeade Day. Why are we still training? Q was also helpless. The captain said that it would be enough for them to go play for one morning and come back for training in the afternoon. Then go ahead. Wayne looked at her pityingly, feeling the thought of joining the Quidditch team became even more serious. He was also busy breaking school rules, so he had no time to train. Q said eagerly, If there is anything delicious, remember to leave some for me. Wayne smiled and nodded, but he was full of curses in his heart. If Hagrid had something delicious to eat, he would rip off Quirrell's head and use it as a chamber pot for the troll. Ah, sneeze. Quirrell, who was eating at the guest of honor, sneezed and smiled sheepishly at Professor Sprout next to him. Flitwick said with concern, "Professor Quirrell, the weather has gotten colder recently. Please take care of yourself." Quirrell responded timidly, making Flitwick sigh inwardly. Quirrell was not like this in the past. He came to Hogwarts as a professor at a young age and was considered an outstanding graduate. But after teaching defense against the dark arts this year, it was like a different person. He was stumbling when he spoke, and he was much less courageous. No one can actually make Wayne cry. Slytherin dormitory. Malfoy was grouped with his two lackeys. "Draco, are you really going to duel with Potter tonight?" Gall asked. Malfoy said fiercely, "Go and see if I don't teach you a lesson." Crabbe scratched his head in confusion. "But didn't you say before that you were going to complain to Filch and deduct points from Gryffindor?" "You're stupid." Malfoy patted Crabbe on the head. "Now Gryffindor only has 12 points in total, so what's the use of deducting a few points? Besides," Malfoy raised his chin, "I am the heir of the Malfoy family. Since I proposed a duel, it doesn't matter if I don't go. This is unbecoming of an aristocrat. How can a B asterisk 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 D who grew up in a muggle family be my opponent?" He talked a lot, but the two of them didn't understand. They just asked him who he planned to take as his assistant. In the end, Malfoy chose the stronger Crabbe to go with him. "You won't suffer any loss in close combat." Wayne didn't know that Malfoy had also changed because of his deception. The traitorous temperament is still there, but when it comes to the so-called family honor, it's like a different person. The original idea of tricking Harry also disappeared. This time the two of them wanted to have a real fight, but even if he knew, it was just for fun. After chatting with Q for a while, Wayne saw Q's friend looking for him, said hello, and returned to the common room. Toby and Norman were playing wizard chess with the Iron Hat King, and the dormitory was empty. Wayne went to the bathroom to take a shower and washed his face 3 times until it was no longer white, and then he clicked on the lottery page of the system. "System, lottery, let's try our luck with 10 games in a row. I just found out that Phelu's listing rules have changed. It's 10,000 words earlier than before. It's a bit sudden and I haven't saved enough manuscripts, but I will try to update another chapter soon. Please help me here. Home subscriptions and support." 10 black cards appeared in response, blooming with their own light in Wayne's thoughts. 6 white, 3 blue, and 1 purple. There is nothing good in white. The most basic reward is 1 galleon, followed by various basic potion materials. Depending on the value, the quantity is also different. But these are materials that are easily available on the market, so Wayne simply skipped them. The 3 blue cards give pretty good things. They are all magic spells. Armor protection, thunderbolt explosions, and flying sand and rocks. Wayne has mastered all 3 spells. After fusing them with his mind, he found that he had a deeper understanding of these 3 spells. When I looked at the panel, everything came to the advanced level. Further up, there is only 1 master level. Of course, this does not mean that once you reach the master level, a spell will reach the limit. Harry was able to fight Voldemort with only 1 Expelliarmus in the whole process, and the power he used was far more powerful than anyone else. This is the best example. The road to magic is long and there is no limit. Finally, there is the purple card. The purple light dissipated and Wayne saw the content clearly and couldn't help but become a little weird. Talent witchcraft, mana flow thin belt, mana flow ribbon. Isn't this a skill in League of Legends? Can this be obtained? Then he looked at the skill introduction. Mana flow thin belt, witchcraft system, passive talent. Every time a kind of magic reaches an advanced level, the total amount of magic power and the recovery speed of magic power can be permanently increased slightly. What a good thing. Wayne looked happy. Magic is very vague, but it exists objectively. So far, the magic world has not found any way to improve one's own magic power. They can only let it grow naturally with age and time. To put it simply, it depends on talent. Some wizards live long enough, but their talents are not enough, and Molycan will not be too capable. Barty Crouch Jr., who was disguised as a target, also said that even if the junior wizards were to use a walker on him, they would only cause him to bleed a little. Wayne's magic talent is SS level, and his current magic level is no less than that of most 7th graders who are about to graduate. But who doesn't like to play with unlimited firepower? After merging his talents, Wayne could feel that his magic power had improved to a certain extent in an instant. As more and more magic reaches advanced levels, the gains that the thin magic flow belt can bring cannot continue to expand. It has unlimited potential. Zika can have such an effect. He really made a lot of money. Keep drawing cards, Wayne ordered happily. There are 10 cards again. This time the purple reward is the Imperious Curse among the 3 unforgivable curses, which is useless. The third 10 companies drew an extremely powerful defensive spell, the Shield of Equus, which can also be called the Shield of Aegis. In ancient Greek mythology, Zeus had a shield made from the fur of the goat Amalthea. It was made by Hephaestus, the god of fire. It not only contained the divine power of Zeus, but also added the head of the snake demon Medusa in a later stage. When Athena was born, Zeus gave her this shield, and she followed Athena to conquer all directions. Since this spell dares to use a name from mythology, its power cannot be underestimated. Ordinary armor protection can resist most magic spells, but it cannot protect against the death curse. If the opponent's magic power is too strong, it will knock the caster away. But the Shield of Equus can defend against even the death curse. As long as the caster has enough magic power, he will be invincible. With this magic spell, Wayne's safety is also guaranteed. The 4th 10th company obtained the weather spell, which can command wind, rain, and thunder. The 5th 10th chain is an advanced magic potion formula, Thinking Potion, which can increase thinking speed and brain activity. It is similar to Baffe Neageo, but the effect is better, and there is no side effect of mental fatigue after the effect of Baffe Neageo. Wayne's face looked a little ugly. You can actually withdraw money only with guarantee. He was just over 60 short of the guaranteed withdrawal amount. He drew 1 round during the summer vacation and 2 after he entered school for fun. This is about to happen 100 times. System, continue to pump 10 times in a row. A golden light occupied the entire screen and then became dim. Among the other 9 pictures, there were 2 purple and 3 blue. Wayne couldn't wait to open the golden card. Congratulations to the host. You have received the high-level reward of seeing, hearing, and domineering. After localized modifications, it has been optimized to dynamic perception. Dynamic perception. You can detect the aura of the surrounding creatures, and your observation ability is greatly improved. If you practice to the master level, you can predict the future for a short time. It's not a powerful spell, nor is it a template that can improve your talent. Rather, it is an auxiliary ability. But Wayne feels that it is no worse than the advanced template. A wizard duel is not as simple as standing still and casting spells. Avoiding or dealing with the enemy's spells relies on experience and reflexes. With dynamic perception, he can anticipate the enemy at every turn, and the enemy's small movements can also be clearly detected. Even Voldemort, who can't be hit by magic spells, is still a muggle. If you can't beat him, can you still tire him to death? Close your eyes and receive information about dynamic perception. This is a status magic, similar to the light body spell. It does not consume much magic power, but it is very difficult to learn. Thanks to the systematic initiation, Wayne's proficiency in this magic has reached the intermediate level. But to improve to an advanced level, you have to practice slowly on your own. Using dynamic perception for himself, Wayne could clearly sense the direction of the wind outside the skylight and the noisy sounds of more than 100 students in the common room. You can even see the flapping wings of a mosquito lying on Toby's suitcase. Vision, hearing, insight, and sixth sense are all improved. In this magical world, where most wizards need to recite spells to cast spells, his ability to observe is no different from predicting the future. Big money. Wayne murmured, feeling crazy with joy. Only then did he remember that several other cards had not been opened. One of the 2 purple ones contains a bottle of blessing elixir, and the other one contains a black magic fire spell. After 60 draws, his strength has been greatly improved. The levels of more than a dozen magic spells have reached advanced levels, and the thin mana flow belts are passively activated, and the total amount of magic power has increased a lot. Advanced magic also learned several black magic and the Aegis of Aegis, enriching the methods, plus the final dynamic perception. Wayne is eager to try it out and see how much his strength has improved. As he rolled his eyes, he thought of a perfect experimental site, Gryffindor dormitory. It was already 11:30 at night. Hearing Seamus and Dean's snores, Harry opened his eyes and asked softly, "Ronald, are you asleep?" "Of course not. I've been thinking about how to deal with Malfoy later." Ronald's voice came, as well as the sound of changing clothes. "How about punching him in the nose before his spell doesn't take effect?" "Why not down there? I'll give him a hard kick." "You are so vicious. Old Malfoy will kill you." Harry was also changing clothes, and they both tried their best to keep their voices to a minimum without disturbing the other two roommates, and came to the lounge. Usually lively lounge became extremely quiet, and only the crackling sound of the burning firewood in the fireplace could be heard, emitting faint heat and light. No one was in the lounge, which made the two men sigh in relief and walked out of the door. "Neville, why are you here?" Just in the corner, a figure huddled together, startling Harry and Ronald and almost shrinking back. After seeing who it was, he stopped retreating. "Thank God. Did you find me not in the dormitory and come to find me?" "I forgot the password to the lounge, and I was locked out and couldn't get in." The little fat man on the ground got up with tears in his eyes. What he said made both Harry and Ronald's expressions freeze. "Sorry, we really didn't find it. The password is Pig's Nose, but Neville, you can't use it now." Harry turned around and pointed at the empty picture frame. "The fat lady probably went out for a walk. She can't get in even if she knows the password. What should we do?" Neville suddenly became anxious. "Come with us." Ronald stood up at this time. Malfoy had two followers. If martial ethics were not enough, Neville could also be a helper. Although he doubted Neville's level of magic, at least he was qualified as a human shield. The little fat man asked blankly, "Where are you going?" "It's too late to explain. You'll be late if you don't leave." Harry said hastily, grabbed Neville and walked downstairs. Along the way, when he heard that they were going to duel, Neville's mouth opened so wide that he could stuff a rifle into it. "This is against school rules. I can't let you go. You will be expelled." Harry also didn't expect that Neville, who was usually honest and dull, would explode now and stop walking. Suddenly thinking of what he heard Wayne say to Hermione one day, Harry cleared his throat. "Neville, you don't want your grandma to know that you can't even remember the password, right?" Now the little fat man had no choice but to follow the two of them angrily. Rather than breaking school rules, Neville was most afraid of his grandma. When they arrived at the prize showroom, Malfoy had been waiting with Crabbe for a long time. Seeing that there were actually three people appearing, Malfoy's expression changed slightly. "Pote, you don't follow martial ethics, and you agreed to only bring one assistant." Because he was walking too fast, Harry took two rough breaths and said, "Neville is the one I met on the road, and Ronald is my assistant." Hearing this, Malfoy's expression softened a lot. Then the atmosphere became even more tense, and both men drew their wands. "Please give me flowers. The curse can be released only if I shout 321, do you understand?" Ronald has recently read a lot of books about duels and is familiar with the process, so he temporarily acted as the host. "Three." As soon as a number popped out of his mouth, Ronald couldn't stand it anymore. Harry and Malfoy both twitched and raised their wands and pointed them at each other as if they had a telepathic connection. The front teeth matched the stick, grinning and cheering. Both of them played extremely long, and Mojang hit the opponent without any bias. Immediately, Malfoy's front teeth pushed out of his lips and reached the bottom of his neck. Harry laughed so hard that he couldn't straighten his waist, let alone continue to recite the curse. But their magic power was too little, and the spell effect only lasted for less than a minute before disappearing. Harry was the first to return to normal. Before Malfoy could recover, he swung his wand and rushed forward, ruthlessly touching his vaginal foot. "Oh, Tilda!" Malfoy let out a cry of ecstasy and knocked his head on Harry's chin, making him bite his tongue. The scene was chaotic. The magic showdown ended here, and the following was a fierce hand-to-hand battle. Ronald was afraid that Harry would suffer a disadvantage, so he took the opportunity to kick Malfoy twice. Crabbe saw it, so they also started fighting. Crabbe is 2 times stronger than Ronald. That's good. Later Neville cried and came to help, but Crabbe was unable to get up due to his weight. The 5 people struggled together and screamed repeatedly. It was impossible to tell whose tears were from whose sweat. At this time, Filch's voice suddenly came over. "Who is there?" Hearing this sound, the 5 people trembled at the same time. Harry quickly took his hand out of Malfoy's mouth and stumbled to his feet. Ronald, Neville, run, Filch is here. At this time, Malfoy didn't care about causing trouble for Harry, pushed open the door and rushed out. Two groups of people ran up and down. Filch shouted, "Stop running. I have seen your faces clearly. Stop now and seek leniency." No one listened to him. Filch hesitated for a moment, but still chased upstairs. The person running down was either a Slytherin or a Hufflepuff. The basement was too close, and he was afraid that they would run back to the lounge before he could catch up. But if you want to go to the tower, the road in between will be long. Naturally, the three Harrys also knew that Filch was coming towards them, so they rushed forward and found a random classroom to hide in. The house leaked and it rained all night. Unexpectedly, I randomly picked a classroom and bumped into Pippi. At this time, Peeves was scribbling on the gangster paper. When he saw the three little wizards, he threw the chalk away in excitement. "Look what I saw, three little first graders who didn't sleep and wandered around. Please," Harry begged, "Filch is looking for us. Please keep your voice down. This is for your own good, you know." Peeves said mischievously, "If I go to find Filch, what punishment will you receive?" "Get away." Ronald pushed him fiercely and he got into trouble. "Students don't sleep," Peeves yelled, trying to lure Filch over. The three of them ran out of the classroom again, running wildly and hitting a door. "It's over. The door is locked," Ronald said desperately. "Do you know any magic spells? Open him quickly." "Unlocking spell, but I don't know how to do it." The footsteps were getting closer and closer, and the noise from Peeves made the three of them more and more frightened and desperate. Neville was already fantasizing about what he would do after being expelled. It seems good to plant flowers and raise grass at home. Ronald was unwilling to twist the handle frantically, trying to break the door. With a click, the door actually opened. "Come in quickly." One Harry roared, and the three of them rushed in, hearing a helpless voice in their ears. "I said you just go out at night. Do you want to wake up the professor by making such a big noise?" "No, we just—" Harry answered subconsciously before realizing the problem. "Why are there people here? And the voice is so familiar." "Wayne, why are you here?" "I couldn't sleep at night, so I came out to eat." Wayne walked out of the darkness, and Harry and the three of them opened their eyes wide. Not because of Ronald, but because— "Wayne, watch out for what's behind you." Behind Wayne, a huge three-headed dog was looking at them eagerly. Neville was about to pee. "Don't worry, Lu Wei has had enough activity today." Wayne snapped his fingers, and the surrounding area lit up instantly. He looked at the trio of idiots with a confused look on his face. "I haven't even learned the lock-picking spell. Without Hermione, we are indeed two useless men. What the hell is going on?" Looking at the huge head of the three-headed dog, the trio's legs felt a little weak. Why are there such ferocious monsters in the school? Harry thought about his escape route, seemed to have thought of something, and lost his voice. "This is the corridor on the right side of the fourth floor," Wayne nodded. "Yes, what the hell did you do? Everyone's noses are bruised and their faces are swollen." Ronald swallowed and whispered, "Wayne, can you go out and talk about it? This dog behind you." "Filch is still wandering around outside. Let's talk here." Wayne reached out and rubbed the dog's head, and the three-headed dog lay down cooperatively, making it easier for Wayne. "Look, Lu Wei is very obedient." Hearing his praise, the three-headed dog purred, and the fear in Harry's and the other three's hearts finally dissipated a lot. Thinking of Filch outside, Harry complained, "Forget it. Malfoy and I made an appointment for a midnight duel, and just in the middle of the fight, Filch came over." "What a bad luck." Wayne was a little surprised. "Malfoy really went there." "No, I mean you actually dueled with Malfoy. This is a big change. Hermione didn't act with them, Malfoy didn't cheat, and had a real fight with Harry. Judging from this posture, it is probably not a hand-to-hand fight. He doesn't seem to have done much to interfere, but why are things developing in more and more strange directions?" Everything was revealed, and Harry didn't hide it and told the whole story. Neville was deeply moved when he heard that this conflict was actually caused by his memory ball. "Wayne, why are you here in this dog?" Wayne's words were concise and to the point. "I learned a few new spells, so I came to Lu Wei to try them out, and the results are pretty good now." Lu Wei shuddered. "Not only is it good, but if he continues to fight, his head will be blown to pieces." It's exactly what Wayne said. He came here this time to find a three-headed dog to test the effect and strength improvement of the lottery he just drew. At first, it seemed that Wayne had the advantage, but it was only on the surface. At most, it caused some superficial injuries to Lu Wei. This time, in order to allow the three-headed dog to perform its function, he also specially used the traceless stretching spell to temporarily expand the corridor space. Seeing his enemy appear, Lu Wei rushed forward angrily. Then he was beaten by Wayne and ran away with his head in his arms. The improvement of magic power, the improvement of spell level, plus the assistance of dynamic sense. Although only 2 weeks have passed, Wayne is much stronger than he was then. He didn't even use black magic. He just blessed himself with the shield of Equis, so the three-headed dog had nothing to do with him. The power of various attack spells is also much greater. Even the most ordinary flocks of birds can cause damage to the three-headed dog. Having achieved his goal, Wayne was not stingy. He showed that he had no intention of sneaking into the trap door and fed him some Martler rat jerky. With the activated magical animal affinity talent, the three-headed dog quickly turned into a pug. He said it so easily that Harry and the others were almost frightened. Do you need to find such a terrifying monster to test the magic spell? The three of them are all scumbags. They don't know how powerful the three-headed dog is, but just by looking at its ferocious appearance and size, they know how difficult it is to mess with. Ronald laughed dryly. You are really leisurely and relaxed. What is that? Harry asked curiously after discovering the trapdoor hidden under the three-headed dog. Roar! The three-headed dog roared vigilantly, and Wayne comforted him. Okay, we won't go in. They are just curious. After saying that, he looked at Harry again. I don't know what's inside, but Lu Wei's mission is to guard this thing. If you ask him again, he will treat you as an intruder. Harry shook his head like a rattle. Pretend I didn't ask. Although he said this, Harry's curiosity became even stronger, and even Ronald and Neville secretly glanced at the trap door. Wayne shook his head secretly. This is Gryffindor, so curious. He took out a map and saw that Filch's mark had gone to the 6th floor. Filch is not around. I have to leave. Where are you? Harry breathed a sigh of relief. We're going back too. I hope the fat lady is back from her walk. Thank you for today, Wayne. Little things. After thanking each other again, Harry and the three of them tiptoed upstairs. At the same time, they secretly cursed themselves for being stupid for forgetting to bring a map when they went out for a night out. Wayne also turned around and removed the traceless stretching spell, said goodbye to Lu Wei and left. On Saturday, the school auditorium seemed particularly deserted. Some people went to Hogsmeade very early, while others were sleeping in. Wayne also met up with Hermione and Q at around 9 o'clock and went to the library to do homework together. Of course, Autumn and Hermione did their homework, and Wayne read. Mrs. Pinksy just glanced at the three of them and ignored them. Q felt bored after writing for a while. She was not a top student like Hermione, and her interest in learning was average. The girl pulled Wayne's sleeve and asked softly, How is King Feng lately? I haven't seen her for several days. Wayne put down the advanced potion making in his hand and looked a little strange. It should be good, right? Don't talk about you. Even I haven't seen her for a long time. Q rolled her eyes and said, That's a phoenix. If someone else has one and offers it as a treasure, why are you so careless? Well, it's not that I don't care. It's just that I made King Feng angry that day. What happened? While the two were talking, even Hermione couldn't help but put her little head closer. Due to the barrier spell cast, Mrs. Pince could see their small movements, but could not hear the sounds, so she opened one eye or closed one. Wayne said with some embarrassment, Well, I saw that everyone is so curious about the phoenix, so I decided to take a photo for a fee, 1 galleon a time. But King Feng didn't agree, so he ran into the forbidden forest angrily and didn't come back for the past few days. Q looked at him like a monster, and it took him a long time to react. Wayne, you are obsessed with money. You can come up with any idea. Hermione pinched him angrily. This is a phoenix, not a monkey in the zoo. Ahem, it's not easy for me to support my family. Wayne spread his hands helplessly. She takes a lot of herbs for every meal, and I can hardly afford it. That can't be like this. Q thought for a while and said, Why don't I use my share of money to buy rations for King Feng? Not to be outdone, Hermione said. Give her my share too. Recently, a lot of maps have been sold, and the two of them have more than 100 galleons on hand, making them rich little women. But it's not that Wayne dislikes it. This little money is really not enough for King Feng to eat for a few days. Since he has not yet reached the stage of his complete body, Phoenix King needs a lot of energy to grow. This week alone cost Wayne 200 galleons in food expenses. After hearing how expensive it was to raise a phoenix, both of them were stunned. After eating in the Great Hall at noon, Hugh took her broom to the Quidditch pitch to participate in Ravenclaw's team training, while Hermione and Wayne randomly found a classroom. Hermione reluctantly handed the assignment to Wayne. Copy it quickly. The little witch was very unhappy. She never thought that one day she would help him do evil. Wayne took it over with a smile and took out a stack of parchment and a sky-blue quill. Under Hermione's shocked gaze, the quill moved on its own and began to copy her homework. What kind of quill is this? Why can I write my own homework? Wayne leaned back on the chair comfortably, stretched out comfortably, and then explained. My latest invention, the manuscript cleaning quill. Used to copy homework. Even if it is a paper, the teacher will not find any problems. Really, I don't believe it. Hermione's little face was full of doubts, and she looked at the lines of words quickly written by the quill and then compared them with her own homework. I found that this pen was not a rigid transcription. Many sentences had been transformed. They looked different, but they had the same meaning. Transfiguration Professor McGonagall left a foot of paper, and it took the quill 5 minutes to copy it all. Hermione read the entire article. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she wouldn't have believed it was copied from her own paper. Do you want to? Wayne took out an identical pen and waved it in front of the little witch's eyes. I don't need it. Hermione raised her white chin proudly. I will never copy other people's homework. What about these? Wayne magically pulled out a handful of quills. This is a dictation quill. It will accurately record what you say. This is a grammar correction quill that can correct grammatical errors in articles. This is a copying quill. It can be used to copy books without missing a word. This is a bullshit filler quill. Can expand 100 words to 1,000 with a certain amount of water. Gudang. Hermione swallowed. Unlike the previous homework quills, these are so useful. She wants every one of them so much. Want it? Wayne was like a big bad wolf tempting the little white rabbit. Hermione nodded eagerly. Wayne's lips raised slightly and he said nonchalantly, Oops, my shoulders and arms were sore from practicing the spell last night. If only there was someone who could. For the quill, Hermione bit her teeth secretly, stood up obediently, came behind Wayne, put her little hands on his shoulders, and started to rub them gently. Wayne also showed a comfortable expression. Although Hermione is not a professional, she still doesn't have much energy in her hands, but with a cute little loli massaging you, the mental enjoyment is comfortable enough. Is it okay? How long is this? It will take a while. My hands are sore. Hold on, it'll be fine soon. Half an hour later, Wayne finally let go of the already weak Hermione and gave her one of several quills. A asterisk hole. 21. After getting the thing, Hermione was so angry that she bit Wayne's shoulder. Seeing the grinning look on his face, he proudly let go of the little tiger teeth. Let's see if you dare to call me around in the future. Miss Granger, you are repaying a favor with a vengeance. Wayne rubbed his shoulders. This Hermione, with her sharp teeth and sharp mouth, really felt a little pain. Why can't I understand what you are talking about? Quickly putting the quill into her pocket, Hermione picked up her homework and skipped out of the classroom. I'll go back and put away the books, and we'll meet at the castle gate in a moment. There will come a time when you fall into my hands. Wayne looked at the little witches retreating back and muttered. At 2 o'clock sharp, the two arrived at Hagrid's hut on time. Found out they weren't the only guests. Harry and Ronald were actually there. The injuries on their faces have not yet recovered. One of Ronald's eyes is big, and the other is small. Harry's eye sockets are black and blue, and there are wounds at the corners of his mouth. Hermione had been busy with maps and homework recently, and had long forgotten about Harry's duel with Malfoy. Seeing that the two people had bruises and swollen faces, he thought about it and said angrily, You really went to duel with Malfoy? How many points will be deducted from Gryffindor if he is caught? Professor McGonagall will be furious. The more Hermione talked, the angrier she became. Ronald couldn't help but muttered, Isn't it true that he didn't get caught? Besides, Malfoy has gone and we don't go. We still don't know how he will laugh at Gryffindor by then. He was quite loyal and didn't confess what happened to Wayne yesterday. Hermione wanted to say something more, but Hagrid stepped in to smooth things over. Okay, since he hasn't been discovered, let him pass. The Malfoy family has always been very annoying. Ronald, you should know that. That's right. Ronald nodded in agreement. Somehow they always met the Malfoy family every time they went back to Diagon Alley, and his father and Malfoy SR often fought, and the two didn't like each other, just like Harry and Malfoy. After Hagrid's interruption, Hermione couldn't say anything. I could only take a sip of tea. At this time, Hagrid handed Wayne a snakeskin bag. It was bulging and much bigger than the last time. Wayne, look at it. Everything inside is missing. Just tell me what's missing. Wayne was not polite and opened it directly to take a look. Most of them were animal fur, as well as several bottles of condensation. The most valuable thing was the acromantula's venom, and Hagrid actually gave him a full pint. That's enough, thank you, Hagrid. The hybrid giant scratched his head in embarrassment. No need to be polite to me, that. Wayne knew what he wanted, and with a thought, he summoned the Phoenix King. With her appearance, the temperature in the room rose a lot. Hagrid swayed excitedly and wanted to touch it, but Feng Wang avoided it in disgust and landed on Hermione's shoulder. She's still angry with the owner, so don't go and talk to Wayne. Harry and Ronald were also observing Phoenix King. Is this your Phoenix? Ronald said excitedly. Yes, her name is Feng Wang. It's really nice to watch for 3. Harry nodded in agreement. Hermione glanced at Wayne proudly and took out 2 basil leaves from her pocket. They were left over from herbal medicine class, and she had kept them until now. Feng Wang didn't like such a small space, so he stayed for a while and then made peace with Wayne after he took out the fresh food. He rubbed his cheek affectionately and left. The total time spent was less than a quarter of an hour. But this also made Hagrid quite satisfied, and he enthusiastically brought out cakes and candies to entertain everyone. There is also the signature rock pie. Several people invariably ignored the pies and concentrated on eating candies and cakes. Although the chocolate cake is too sweet, it is much better than the tooth-breaking rock pie. While chatting, Harry and Ronald also made a tacit agreement not to mention what they saw and heard last night. Hermione was too scary for the two of them. If she knew that she and others not only dueled with Malfoy, but also broke into the restricted area specified by Dumbledore, they would not be able to live in peace today. Harry pressed Wayne, who was eating rock pie with relish and felt a little numb. Wayne, are your teeth made of iron? Are they so hard that you can bite them? While Hagrid went to heat tea, Harry looked at Wayne in shock. At this time, Wayne was holding a piece of pie and eating it deliciously. I used a softening charm. Wayne said matter-of-factly, would you like to try it? It's actually quite delicious. As he spoke, he lightly touched the pie with his hand, and the girdle suddenly became much softer. Do. Sure enough, I am a waste. He couldn't help but pick up a piece and taste it. It's really good. By the way, I recently invented some new gadgets. Do you want to buy them? What is it? Harry became interested. Under Hermione's murderous gaze, Wayne took out his manuscript quill. After understanding the uses of several quills, Harry's eyes lit up, and he bought the scribing quill and the nonsense quill without hesitation. I still buy too. What are you most afraid of when writing a thesis? Isn't it just how to turn a sentence in your stomach into a whole article? This quill has been a huge help. Wayne's price was not expensive, 2 galleons a stick. Harry took out 8 galleons without blinking and completed the transaction. Ronald on the side is already warming up. Like Harry, he was not a bad student, but he was only average. The most annoying thing is that I have to do homework after class every day. With these 2 pens, how much time can be saved to play wizard chess? It's a pity that Ronald is poor. The pocket money given by his family for 1 semester is only a dozen sickles. Even the map is Harry's, let alone buying a quill. Harry also noticed his friend's embarrassment and whispered, You don't have to buy it. I can lend it to you when the time comes. Thanks, Ronald said gratefully. Wayne is also happy to see the results. Quill pens are stationary items that are easily worn out. Usually, a young wizard has to use thousands of quill pens in a semester. If 2 people use it, it will be consumed faster, and Harry will have to come to him to buy it. As for whether Harry would be unable to afford it, Wayne wasn't worried at all. In addition to being a savior, Harry will also have an equally resounding title in the future, heir to the legacy. The Potter family is an old family, and there is a lot of money in the treasury, but it is still within the normal range. After Sirius's death, the Black family's inheritance will also belong to him. This person is one of the most wealthy among the Holy 28 and is richer than Malfoy. If you send a firebolt without blinking your eyes, you will know how deep it is. Then there is Snape. no matter how displeased Harry is by looking at Snape. He is Lily's child. Snape's final legacy was also Harry's. It goes without saying how much wealth a potion master can have. After such a round, 3 rich inheritances were obtained, and Harry would definitely become a rich man in the wizarding world in the future. 3. Harry happily told interesting stories about his Quidditch training, completely unaware that Wayne had already set his sights on this big fat sheep. George and Fred are P asterisk 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 G Wood off. They're like 2 human bludgers. Quidditch Hermione didn't understand, but she still said seriously, Harry, you must win the House Cup. Our score is too far behind other houses. Winning the Quidditch House Cup can add 150 points to your house. This is why Hermione cares. Harry's face fell. I'll try my best, after all, I'm only in my first year. Then he immediately became angry again. It's all Snape's fault. I really don't know how I provoked him. He stares at me every day and deducts points. Hagrid, who was originally smiling, looked a little unnatural. Harry, Snape is your professor after all, so you still have the necessary respect. I'm telling the truth, Harry said stubbornly. He deducted a full 30 points from me in potions class last week. Harry looked at Wayne again and complained. Wayne, the method you taught me doesn't work. I lowered my head and didn't look at him, but Snape seemed to be even more angry. Tell me about the specific situation. Wayne became more energetic. Harry gave a brief summary with a grimace. Originally, Snape would find trouble in every class. Every time someone stared at him unconvinced, Snape would make a few sarcastic remarks and get over it. During the last potions lesson, Harry suddenly remembered the method Wayne taught him. So no matter how much Snape picked on him, he kept his head down and boiled the potion. As a result, Snape deducted 20 points for disrespecting the professor and later deducted 10 points from Neville. After listening to this, Wayne's stomach almost cramped with laughter, but he still maintained a thoughtful look on his face. Nonsense, everything about you. Snape's rarest thing is those eyes that are exactly the same as Lily's. It would be strange if he doesn't get angry if you don't look at him. It's not easy, Harry. Wayne slapped his lips and said, It seems that Snape does have some objections to you. Otherwise, you can give him some gifts at Christmas to ease the relationship. After all, potions class will last until at least the 5th grade. Harry thought this was the truth when he heard it. Then what should I give you? How about giving me shampoo? Wayne came up with an idea. Look at his oily head. It must have been a long time since he washed his hair, so giving him some shampoo would be appropriate. Is it useful? Harry asked doubtfully. He is a professor, so he can't afford shampoo. Master of potions, it's normal to be informal. Wayne laughed. Maybe I forgot or was too lazy to buy it. Just buy the best one, the one with the longest brand name. When the time comes, Snape will see that you are so sincere and will not take care of you, but he probably won't cause trouble for you either. Hagrid opened his mouth. The best shampoo in the wizarding world. It's Potter shampoo. This is the product on which the Potter family made their fortune, but Harry's grandfather had already sold the shampoo formula and exchanged it for a large sum of gold. It has nothing to do with them now. Hagrid scratched his head, feeling a little strange, but he couldn't pinpoint what was wrong. If he can't figure it out, he won't think about it. Wayne is Harry's friend and a kind and reliable Hufflepuff, so how can he resist his friends? Hagrid smiled and went to bring over the freshly baked cookies and hot tea. An hour later, several little wizards walked out of the hut, rubbing their already bloated bellies. There's no need to eat dinner now. Ronald yawned. Harry, do you want to play wizard chess for a while? 1 candy wrapper per game. Okay. The two said hello to Wayne and left. Their relationship with Hermione was not very good, especially Ronald, who felt that Hermione was too rigid and nosy. Girls tend to be mentally more mature than boys, and puberty comes earlier. Hermione didn't like these 2 naughty classmates either. She felt it was too childish. Want to go back to the castle? Wayne asked. Hermione thought for a while. Let's take a walk. I'm also full and want to do some exercise. Wayne does everything he can. The two strolled slowly along the Black Lake. The water was sparkling. The autumn wind wrinkled and rippled. From time to time, fish jumped out of the water and were subsequently swallowed by the Grindylow monster. A gust of wind blew by, but Wayne was fine. His robes were all thermostatic, but Hermione tightened her clothes. As October approaches, the temperature in the Scottish Highlands has already dropped below 10 degrees. Wayne very thoughtfully placed a thermostatic spell on Hermione, and the little witch felt much better instantly. Wayne, why do you have so many spells? Study more, practice more, and you won't be good at it, Wayne said easily, and Hermione curled her lips quietly. She has also learned many spells by herself in private, but the progress is not very fast. Some simple spells can be mastered quickly, but the more difficult ones require time to study. In order to avoid being hit again, Hermione looked at the Black Lake and whispered softly, I have read in a book that there is an entire tribe of fishmen living in the Black Lake, but I don't know if it is true. It's true. Wayne threw a stone and it floated, but it only floated 3 times before sinking into the lake. You can still see it from time to time through the window in the slithering common room. But these mermaids are too ugly. Wayne shook his head and sighed. It has nothing to do with the legendary mermaids. Hermione crossed her arms and sneered. What can you do if it's really a mermaid? Wayne chuckled. Then I don't mind getting another pet. Humph! The little witch pinched Wayne and turned around to leave. Hey, why are you pinching someone for no reason? Leave me alone. Hey! Wayne was exasperated. So unreasonable. Why, you don't accept it? The little witch said provocatively. I just can't stand your daydreaming. If you have the ability, you can really catch a mermaid and raise it. What if I really capture you? Wayne raised his eyebrows. If you really catch me, I'll do whatever you want. Hermione thought for a moment, and it was written in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them that there were no mermaids in the world. This was just people's imagination, and they immediately made a bet with confidence. Okay, just wait. Wayne responded, If I don't find a mermaid before graduation, I will agree to one condition. It's a deal. The two high-fived and smiled in victory. Back in the lounge, Cedric and the others also returned from Hogsmeade. Seeing Wayne, he first gave him a glass of butterbeer, and then Cedric whispered, The things you asked me to buy are placed in the dormitory. I will bring them to you later. Wayne nodded to show he was in no hurry. Cedric handed over some more candies from Honeyduke's candy shop. Where will you teach me how to make maps tomorrow? Just find a classroom. There are too many people in the lounge. Putting the milk fudge in his mouth, Wayne gave up the idea of going to the cafeteria to eat. Hufflepuff's little wizards are indeed foodies. Almost all they brought back from Hogsmeade were snacks, and many of them enthusiastically gave some to Wayne. Then, given the opportunity, he took out his quill and made a sales pitch. The price of 2 galleons for a stick is indeed very expensive, but it can't stand up to the many scumbags in Hufflepuff. With tears in her eyes, Hannah took out 2 galleons again and bought a nonsense quill. Less than a month after entering school, the little girl has gained weight visibly, and her pocket money is more than half of it. Desserts and snacks were served. Wayne couldn't bear to see it, so he couldn't help but persuade him. Hannah, why don't you buy a manuscript quill? No. The little girl's nose twitched. Anyway, no one will let me copy my homework. I can lend it to you. Then, how about another one? Hannah took out 2 more galleons from the dry little vault and reluctantly handed them to Wayne. Cedric looked at him like a ghost. Does your conscience really not hurt? This wave brought in more than 100 galleons, and Wayne was very satisfied. He planned to talk to Malfoy about how the noble Master Malfoy could use this ordinary version. He specially prepared high-end customized models such as unicorn feathers and evil bird feathers, and the prices were not high, just 10 galleons. Sunday. In the morning, Wayne wanted to teach Cedric how to make maps, so the two found a vacant classroom on the 2nd floor. Wayne took out the parchment and special ink and began to explain. The most basic version is not difficult. Use special ink to draw a map and mark the code corresponding to each staircase to synchronize the operation of the stairs in Hogwarts in real time. All Cedric needed was the marking charm and the hidden spell to unlock it. After scraping a few maps, you've mastered it, and the pro version the difficulty has increased. The main problem is that the real-time position of the little wizard is revealed. It requires a very special tracking spell and a magic tandem spell to let the little wizard's magic power and the sheepskin paper makes connections. In a week, Cedric could only barely master it, and the success rate was very low. There was no other way, so Wayne could only transform into a charms professor and start explaining some techniques of casting spells. Boom, boom, boom. There was a sudden knock on the classroom door. Cedric's hand shook and the spell failed again. Who? Opened the door angrily and saw 2 people smiling outside. Why are you here? Of course I'm here to see Wayne. Cedric opened the door and walked in with the two of them, still a little confused on his face. How did you know Wayne was here? No comment. This is Gemini's biggest secret. George Fred walked up to Wayne and showed a flattering smile. Master Lawrence, how was your weekend? If you feel too lonely, we can introduce you to two beauties with more than 250 in Gryffindor. Wayne shivered and pushed them away in disgust. Stay away from me. If you have something to say, don't discuss me. The twins looked at each other and said in unison, Wayne, can you teach us how to make those quills? Fred added, it's not free, just tell me how much it will cost, and we'll get it for you even if you're hungry. Cedric rolled his eyes. Food is free in school. Get out of here. George hammered him and looked at Wayne expectantly. Yesterday in the common room, they happened to see Harry writing papers with a nonsense quill, and they were shocked. Gemini felt that making these things was so interesting, as if they had suddenly found the meaning of life. After asking, it turned out to be Wayne's handiwork again, and they were completely convinced. They didn't even understand the principle of the map, so they developed new props. The twins, who could no longer hold themselves back, came over with a roar after a night of ideological struggle. The academic barriers in the magic world are not serious, but when it comes to making money, it becomes a secret. If they weren't really too curious, they wouldn't do such a reckless thing. I made up my mind that no matter what conditions Wayne offered, as long as they could meet them, they would definitely agree. Fred and George's expressions were sincere and serious. Wayne had never seen either of them look like this before. He pondered for a moment and said, It's not impossible to teach you. I'm teaching Cedric how to make maps now. The two of them looked at Cedric, who was eating melon, as if they were saying that they didn't call me if they had something good going on. Cedric said quickly, Look at what I do. I also work for Wayne. That's right. Wayne nodded. I provide the materials and technology, and he is responsible for the production and sales, but he only gets 20%. If you can accept such conditions, I can also teach you. Oh, right. Just as the two were about to agree, Wayne interrupted again. I also want one more thing, the map in your hand. Fred was surprised. How do you know? That map is the biggest secret the two of them discovered this semester. They haven't studied it thoroughly yet. Why would Wayne know about it? Last time in the prize showroom, you were too slow. Wayne smiled. He was very interested in the Marauder's map. In Harry's hand, it was just a map, mostly used to hide from Filch. But in his hands, it is excellent research material, and its value is incomparable. So bring it to you. The twins gathered together and murmured for a long time and finally said, We agreed, but can you let us use it for a while? The secret passage above has not been completely memorized. Wayne was also very cheerful. No problem, just give it to me after Christmas. Only Cedric looked confused. What on earth are you talking about? There have been a lot of flower reviews and monthly votes. Thank you for your support. Now that Wayne had pointed them out, Gemini stopped hiding and took out a parchment map. Fred cleared his throat and pointed his wand at the parchment. I solemnly swear that I will not do bad things. The ink on the originally blank map stretched like threads and was quickly assembled into a map. Different from the map made by Wayne, this map has an extremely wide scope, covering the entire castle, the outside lawn, the Quidditch pitch, and a small part of the Forbidden Forest. Wayne's map only covers the castle's teaching building area, which is more than a little smaller. The most amazing thing is that there are densely packed names on the map. Some are clustered together, and some are still moving. Cedric stared. Where did this thing come from? Wayne, have you made a more advanced version? I don't have the ability now. Wayne took the map, and in just a moment he discovered contract magic, a large amount of tracking magic, and magic related to names. Was the Marauder's map really created by Sirius and the others when they were in school? Wayne was deeply suspicious. How did these students make such an awesome thing? Shadowless and invisible. Wayne took out his wand and cast an invisibility spell on himself. Suddenly, Wayne's name disappeared from the map, and only the names of the Weasley brothers and Cedric were still displayed in this room. Can it still be like this? Fred looked at this scene in surprise. George explained to Cedric, Fred and I were put in solitary confinement by Filch, and he asked us to clean the house, and this was taken from his drawer. It took a lot of effort to solve the mystery. Fred interrupted. George almost threw this parchment away, but luckily he didn't. The two looked at each other and smiled. Wayne took the map and studied it for a while, but couldn't find Peter Pettigrew's name on it, so he gave it back to the twins. 2. Not to mention that Peter Pettigrew is also one of the makers of the map. Based on his timid temperament, he probably used all the spells that can hide his information. It's normal that you can't find it. Fred carefully put away the map. While it could still be used for a few months, they had to quickly record all the secret passages in Hogwarts. Since he agreed to them, Wayne simply started teaching together. Let Cedric go and make a map first, and Wayne talked to Gemini about selling quills. Both of them are social terrorists and have friends in every house except Slytherin. Wayne didn't want to spend too much energy on business, and Hermione and Q actually didn't have much interest either. The two of them came at just the right time. In the original world online, the Weasley joke shop was run by them in full swing, which proved that the Gemini also had good talents in business. As long as one is sold, he will give the twins 10% of the share. If they make it themselves, they will give 20%. Fred and George had no problem with that either. Once it is something that interests you, no matter how naughty or mischievous you are, you can still make the effort to learn it. The twins are full of enthusiasm for making prank props or interesting magic items, and they listen more seriously than in class. If Professor McGonagall saw it, he would probably put them in confinement in anger. After saying the spell, Wayne took out some ordinary feathers and handed them to them, as well as some potions that provided magical power. Only feathers soaked in potion will become special materials that can be used to make magic quills. By noon, the three of them were unwilling to leave, but Wayne had to go. "What are you going to do?" Cedric asked. "I promised Hermione that I would teach her the armor charm this afternoon." "Oh, Tilda," George screamed strangely. "It turns out to be Miss Know-it-all." Cedric smiled obscenely. "Tusk, Wayne, you started early enough." Wayne was not angry and looked at them with a half-smile. "There are only so many students in the entire Hogwarts, and your wife will most likely be chosen from here in the future. If you don't mind, you can wait until 7th grade. Wait until your future wife becomes the ex-girlfriend of many people before you start. That way she will have more experience." After saying that, Wayne went out, leaving the three of them staring. Hiss. Cedric gasped. "That makes sense. This kind of situation does exist, and there are quite a lot of it. For example, the girlfriend of Watterly, captain of the Quidditch team, is the ex-girlfriend of the 6th grade prefect, and the ex-girlfriend of the 6th grade prefect is the ex-girlfriend of a prefect in Ravenclaw. The beginning of school every year is like a transfer period. Today this girlfriend will change, and tomorrow the other one will change." Cedric shivered. No, he has to learn from Wayne's training since he was young. Fred and George also felt sad, but now they were focused on making props. After complaining for a while, they started practicing magic spells again. In the afternoon, after taking a nap, Wayne waited for Hermione at the door of the Gryffindor lounge, pulled her and went down to the tower. "Let's go. I'll take you to a fun place," Wayne said mysteriously. Hermione was a little confused. "Aren't you going to teach me the iron armor curse?" "Where are you going?" "You'll know if you follow me." Wayne took Hermione straight to the 8th floor, and the two of them didn't let go of their hands along the way. Hermione bit her lip. This is the first time. Why does Wayne always like to hold her while walking? Is he afraid that he will get lost? By now she was somewhat used to it. After wandering around the 8th floor, the two found the tapestry where the troll beat silly Barnabas with a club. Barnabas was a wizard who tried to teach the troll how to dance ballet, but was beaten by the troll. This painting has existed since the founding of the school. For more than 1,000 years, several trolls have never stopped beating Barnabas. I don't know what the deep hatred between the person who painted this picture and Barnabas was. After confirming that it was here, Wayne paced back and forth 3 times near the opposite wall while thinking silently. "I need a place to practice my spells." When Wayne passed by for the 3rd time, an extremely smooth door appeared on the wall with a handle on it. Wayne didn't hesitate, pulled Hermione open the door and walked in. "What is this place?" There is no light source in the room, but it is almost as bright as the outside world. The space is large, and there are many puppets and targets. Hermione looked at the room and the furnishings in surprise. The room of requirement. Wayne was also observing his surroundings. But unlike Hermione, he wanted to see something deeper. It's a pity that the strength is not enough, and the knowledge mastered is too little. After observing for a long time, I still can't see the reason. It can only be determined that the room of requirement is similar to the sorting hat and also has some legilimency abilities. As long as you silently recite your needs and walk back and forth 3 times like I just did, this house will be decorated the way you want. But if there's someone inside, the room of requirement won't appear unless your needs are the same. So powerful, I want to try it too. Hermione's eyes lit up, and she pulled Wayne out of the room to try it for herself. When the two people came out, the smooth door immediately disappeared. Hermione imitated Wayne and walked back and forth 3 times. Sure enough, the door appeared again and she pushed it open. It was filled with rows of bookshelves, and the books on them were also loose. As Hermione picked up a book and was about to read it, Wayne quickly stopped her. There will be plenty of time to read books in the future. We agreed today that we will learn spells first. Okay. Hermione reluctantly put the book back, and the two of them transformed the room of requirement into its original appearance. Wayne. Hermione looked at the boy curiously. How on earth did you discover the room of requirement? Night tour. Wayne said matter-of-factly, "Didn't I tell you before, this castle has too many secrets, and you can't explore so much fun if you just go to class honestly." Hermione was thoughtful, suddenly feeling eager to give it a try. Okay, Teacher Lawrence's small class has started. Wayne pretended to cough twice, and even changed a pair of glasses for himself, which made Hermione burst into laughter. "Miss Granger, please listen carefully, or the teacher will spank you." Hermione's face turned slightly red. "How dare you?" Wayne stopped teasing her. "The little girl is thin-skinned, and her bottom line is quite high. She will slowly break through in the future. The Iron Armor Curse is a very common protective spell in the magic world. It can form an invisible barrier around the body, resisting most attacking spells, and even rebounding. Although this is the most common protective spell, it does not mean that the armor spell is not difficult. In fact, many employees of the Ministry of Magic have not mastered the use of this spell, and proficiency in the Iron Armor charm is one of the most important aspects of the Aura examination. According to an Aura autobiography that Wayne read, the minimum standard for assessing an Aura is to cast the Iron Armor curse silently. After all, if you can't even protect yourself, how can you expect Aura to capture the Dark Wizard? Spell you should know, Pratigo. When reciting the incantation, T must be pronounced with an accent, and the connection with go must be close. Wayne summarized the techniques for Hermione in great detail. Remember, when chanting a spell, your wrist must be raised, and the wand should be vertical to the body. As he spoke, he demonstrated the most standard movements. At the same time, you need to concentrate in your mind and imagine that there is an indestructible shield in front of you. The defensive power of the Iron Armor Curse is not only related to the magic power, but also related to the firmness of the will. Magic is idealistic. Will an imagination play a big role? Don't imagine it with muggle thinking. This shield must be magical and miraculous. Wayne was talking eloquently, and Hermione's little head kept tapping, memorizing all the key points he said. "Come on, try it yourself." After Wayne finished speaking, he asked the little witch to do the actual operation. In fact, Hermione was very talented in learning spells. Wayne only taught her once, but she memorized all the key points and followed the instructions to cast spells meticulously. In less than an hour, you can barely use the spell. However, Wayne sensed it and found that the Iron Armor Curse was dry, numb, and not round at all. I can't help but want to play a game. As a result, something went wrong in one set. Puff. The sound of the balloon deflating was so obvious in the silent room that Wayne was shocked. "Is this an armor charm or a balloon charm? It will break with just a touch of your hand." Hermione's face was filled with anger and she hesitated. I just learned this, so it will be fine in the future." Wayne said nothing. Although there is a relationship here that is new and unskilled, the fundamental reason is still too little magic power. It's not without reason that those families insist on pure blood. Most pure-blood wizards, the actual magic power is much more than that of a pure muggle like Hermione, such as Malfoy, such as Harry. If they had Hermione's same learning talent, their magic would definitely be able to support a complete Iron Armor Curse. Letter 3005, what are you thinking about? Hermione asked cautiously, thinking that her performance had disappointed Wayne. "It's nothing." Wayne came back to his senses and saw the little witch with her mouth pursed, and looking like she was about to cry. He smiled and comforted. It's already pretty good. It's not your problem. In a year or two, when the magic power increases, it will be a matter of course for me to master the iron armor curse. Hermione didn't speak, and Wayne took the opportunity to rub her furry head with a relieved expression on his face. He has wanted to do this for a long time, but the previous relationship was not enough, and there was no suitable opportunity. Now is the time to take advantage of the situation. As expected, Hermione showed no sign of disgust and even moved a little forward, closer to Wayne. Then what should we do now? The little witch asked frustratedly. I have so little magic power. What kind of magic can I learn? It's not low, it's just a normal level. Wayne corrected. Normally young wizards can only master the iron armor curse in the 5th or 6th grade. Hermione raised her head. What about you? I learned it before I went to school. Wayne said, and an invisible barrier spread Hermione out very gently. This hand not only casts spells silently without a wand, but also shows super control over magic spells. How is it? Are you handsome? Wayne raised his eyebrows and proudly showed off. This made Hermione furious. She was feeling sad, and Wayne was rubbing salt into her wounds. It's not fair. We are all muggle-born. Why are you so talented? Because I am hanging on the wall. Wayne explained silently in his mind. He has SS plus level black magic defense talent. Looking at ancient and modern times, there are few people who are better than him. Even though the system does not give specific ratings for other characters, according to Wayne's estimation, legendary characters such as Gryffindor, Slytherin, and even Merlin can reach SSS level. Even Lao Deng can't do it. Good, good, good. With this kind of talent, combined with card drawing, Wayne's iron armor spell has reached an advanced level and is very easy to use. Since the iron armor charm cannot be learned for the time being, Wayne can only teach Hermione some other spells. For example, the Happy Savior spell, the disarming spell. It's simple and practical, doesn't consume much magic power, the spell flies very fast, and is extremely difficult to defend against. For most wizards without their wands, they are no different from muggles. Wayne waved his hand, and the nearby wooden man floated over, holding various sundries in his hands. First, improve the success rate of the spell. Remember to control the direction in which the enemy's wand flies away, then practice your aim, and finally the casting speed and distance. Wayne arranged it for Hermione and sat there reading a book. At the same time, I was also thinking about whether there was a chance to draw some items that could increase Hermione's magic power. But if you want to give it now, wait until the lowly grows up and make sure she can't run away. In the room of requirement, Hermione's voice didn't stop chanting the spell. She was also holding her breath, trying to prove to Wayne that she was not useless except for rote memorization. It was until 5 o'clock in the afternoon when Hermione's voice became hoarse, and she could no longer squeeze out more magic power from her body, so she stopped. Wayne took out a bottle of concentration potion and handed it to her. Get and go to bed early at night, otherwise you may not be able to get up tomorrow. Wayne instructed. When you practice in private, don't work as hard as you did today. You must leave some magic power for yourself, you know. Listening to Wayne's caring words, Hermione felt warm in her heart. Her smile was as bright as a flower, and she carefully held the potion in her arms. This bad guy is quite considerate. Wayne also laughed. He reached out his hand and rubbed the little witch's furry head again. So soft. The manuscripts I saved yesterday were drained, and today I have 15,000. The young author has tried his best, but he is a handicapped person after all. I hope everyone can support me and contribute some data. Thank you. Back in the common room, Wayne noticed something was wrong. There were many people sitting in the room, but the atmosphere was extremely quiet, and everyone was deep in thought. What's going on here? Wayne sat in the empty chair next to Cedric and asked curiously. Cedric looked complicated. Your two roommates are too smart and asked two questions that no one could answer. Everyone is thinking. Wayne looked like you were kidding me. His two roommates were absolutely as good as each other, and Toby was praised by Snape as an idiot on the same level as Neville. Toby, what on earth did you two ask? Oh, Wayne. Toby looked up at him and asked very seriously, do you think the laxatives are still useful if they expire? Norman also chimed in. Drinking and riding a broomstick, does that count as drunk driving? Wayne, you too should be transferred to the hospital. The little Hufflepuff can no longer accommodate you. Hurry up and harm Ravenclaw. New week. Harry walked into the auditorium with Ronald with a depressed look on his face. The two of them had not fully recovered from their injuries. Their eyes were blue, and they had several big bumps on their heads. When other students asked, they said they had fallen down the stairs. But no one believes that anyone who falls down the stairs can get two black eyes. As fate would have it, Malfoy, who was eating, also raised his head when Harry passed by, and their eyes met. Snort. Harry and Malfoy snorted at the same time. Malfoy didn't look good at this time either. There were gaps in his neat blonde hair, and it looked like it had been chewed off. The bruises on the corners of his mouth were very obvious, and Malfoy grinned with a fierce expression, just about to taunt Harry. Unexpectedly, Harry laughed first. "Ha ha, Malfoy, why is one of your teeth missing?" Ronald also laughed, and the two of them laughed at Malfoy unbridled, and the blonde boy's expression changed visibly. "Pote, do you want to fight again?" Malfoy gritted his teeth, and his words were a little leaky. When he went back that night, he found that one of his teeth had been knocked out. After careful recall, I discovered that it was actually Crabbe, a fool who accidentally injured him. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Today, Harry tore his wound again. If there weren't too many little wizards around, he would have wanted to rush up and punch Harry, knocking out one of his teeth. Harry retorted, "I don't want to knock out all your teeth and leave you without food." Of course he would not agree. If there was no 763 Wayne on Friday night, he and Ronald Neville would be completely in trouble. The best outcome is to be caught by Filch, the worst outcome. It was probably used as rations for the three-headed dog. It happened to be one for each head, so there was no need to grab it. Coward. Seeing that Harry didn't take the bait, Malfoy snorted and turned his head to eat, ignoring them. Harry still wanted to taunt, but a familiar, annoying voice came from behind him. "Pot, don't Gryffindors have a place to eat by themselves?" "No, Professor." Harry forced himself to calm down and turned around. "I was just saying hello to my classmates." After Snape saw the injury on Harry's face, his eyes narrowed, and he was silent for 2 seconds before saying, "For deceiving the professor, Lou Lanfendo will deduct 5 points. Pote, you better pray that I don't touch you next time we fight, otherwise go back to Privet Drive." With that, Snape floated away, like a giant bat that moved during the day. Harry looked at his back with disgust. Sometimes I really feel like I stole his girlfriend and made him hate me so much. "You two are more than 20 years apart." Ronald complained mercilessly. "Your dad just stole his girlfriend." "Okay, let's go eat." Harry nodded and was about to return to the long Gryffindor table with Ronald when he accidentally saw Wayne coming to the guest of honor seat and talking to Snape, who had just sat down. "Professor, here are the materials you want." Wayne handed over a paper bag with a pained face. In order to collect these tears, he vomited all the good things he said to King Feng yesterday, and then he managed to collect 2 small bottles. If Snape dares to hide his stupidity, Wayne promises to give him a potion containing Umbridge's hair. Whoosh! The movement almost left an afterimage. Before Wayne could react, his vision blurred and Snape had already put the things away, even a rare smile. He had already used the materials given by Wayne over the weekend, and the effect was surprisingly good. Especially the rebirth potion he refined, which was added with the tears of the Phoenix, actually produced some changes that he couldn't even understand. After a whole weekend of research, Snape determined that Wayne's Phoenix was different. Like Fox, its tears do have a strong healing effect, but they are only healing. But Wayne's Phoenix. Snape wasn't sure because the time was too short. But according to the inference of the existing intelligence, Phoenix King's tears contain huge vitality. Even people who are not injured can get an increase in lifespan and even return to youth after using it. What the hell does this mean? It's simply a high-end version of the magic stone. No, what kind of garbage is the magic stone? It can only make people live forever, but it cannot prevent aging. Now Nicolaim would probably break his chest even if he sneezed. But if you rely on the tears of the Phoenix, you will not only live forever, but you will also be able to maintain your body at its peak function forever. Snape no longer dared to use these 2 bottles of tears at will. He felt that none of the potion formulas he knew were worthy of using these tears. "Come to my office tomorrow night." Snape said weakly, and Wayne gave him a look of displeasure. However, at this time, all the eyes of the guest of honor were focused on the two of them. Especially seeing Snape actually smiling, even Professor McGonagall found it incredible. "Lawrence, what are you talking about with Professor Snape?" As the dean, Sprout was the most qualified to ask, and she had no intention of hiding it. Dean, don't I think my potion skills are too poor, and I want Professor Snape to give me some makeup lessons." Wayne lowered his head and said sheepishly, "I just gave the professor some materials for class." As he spoke, he also took out a jar of Phoenix King's excrement to make fertilizer for his dean, and gave each of Professor Flitwick and Professor McGonagall a feather. Professor Sprout laughed so much that he didn't know how fertile Phoenix's feces was. This was the first time he used it. Immediately he looked at Wayne, and his eyes became gentler. "Then I'm welcome. If you need any plants in the future, you can come to me and get them." A young wizard who is talented, studious, and disobedient is really rare. There was Cedric in the 3rd grade, and there was Wayne in the 1st grade. Sprout seems to be able to see that an era of Hufflepuff is coming. After receiving the gift, they naturally had to do some work. McGonagall and Flitwick also smiled and told Wayne that he could come to them if he encountered any problems during the study process. "Mr. Lawrence." Dumbledore, who had been silent all this time, spoke up and sighed in frustration. "You will never forget this bad old man like me." Wayne was startled. "Professor, don't you already have Fox? Do you still need these materials?" "Of course." Dumbledore blinked. "Every phoenix is unique, not to mention yours is the Phoenix King. Recently, Feng Wang and Fox often went to Lao Deng's place to eat and drink. Even Snape could find something unusual, let alone him. It's a pity that Dumbledore is not an expert in the field of magical animals. He can only feel the power and difference of King Ho from a magical perspective and cannot get more effective information. But it doesn't matter. He has already written to an old friend and asked the expert to give some advice." The principal openly asked for a bribe, so it was hard for Wayne to refuse. He took out another feather and handed it to Dumbledore. Old man rubbed it carefully for a moment, felt the warmth in his hands, and put it away with a smile. He planned to send it to his old friend later. Feeling that there were still eyes on him, Wayne turned his head and raised a playful smile on his lips. "Why, Brother Juan Luo also wants some materials." Quirrell waved his hands in panic. No, I'm just curious. Can you let me see your phoenix?" "Of course." Under Quirrell's expectant gaze, Wayne made a sharp turn. "No. Professor, if you teach a deg some useful spells next class, I will call King Feng back. What do you think?" Except for McGonagall, who frowned slightly, none of the other teachers had any reaction to Wayne teasing a professor so unscrupulously. It's true that Quirrell did such a bad job that all the little wizards had a lot of complaints against him. No one else can blame him. The teachers were also disgusted with the defense against the dark arts professor, who smelled unpleasant all day long. Faced with Wayne's persecution, Quirrell just stammered and said, "I'll do my best," but didn't give any guarantee. Dumbledore tilted his head slightly, and no one could see his eyes clearly from the reflective mirror. 4th floor in Quirrell's office. After breakfast, Quirrell did not have classes in the morning and went directly back to the office. Few of the little wizards he met along the way greeted him, and they all looked at him with disdain and disgust. In this regard, Quirrell always lowered his head and did not make any response. "Close the door and lock it." Quirrell took out his wand again and cast several trap spells and warning spells. Then he came to a floor-to-ceiling mirror and took off the turban that all young wizards were curious about. A face appeared on the back of his head. What a face that is! Grey and ferocious, with an expression of pain all the time. Just seeing it can make a child cry. This is the tale sealed in the Jinchurik's body. Well, it's Voldemort. Wayne would definitely sigh if he were here. Although he looks ugly, at least he has a nose. Look what will happen in the future. Owner. Quirrell knelt on the ground respectfully, allowing Voldemort's face to receive the sunlight. "Idiot, you can't even handle a first-year wizard. Why would I choose a waste like you?" Voldemort's curses were intermittent and sounded very weak, but Quirrell was still trembling with fear and softly defended. Master, I can't help it. If I show too much enthusiasm, Dumbledore will notice something is wrong with me." Voldemort sneered. "You think Dumbledore doesn't know you are mine?" Quirrell was shocked. "What? Then why didn't he? Why don't we expose you and get rid of you?" Voldemort asked back with great malice in his voice. I know Dumbledore is aware of my existence. Dumbledore knows that he knows that I the presence. I know too. This is a balance, a game between me and him, but Dumbledore would never have imagined that I, a lonely ghost, would dare to go to Hogwarts in person. In his heart, I'm afraid you are just a poor guy who was bewitched by me. Quirrell also stopped trembling and said flatteringly, No, master, I turned from darkness to light. Only after following you did I realize how hypocritical Dumbledore is. Then show your worth. Don't need useless trash, Voldemort scolded. I need the tears of a phoenix, especially Lawrence's phoenix. Voldemort knew that his state was too weak, and he could only regain some strength by resorting to rare methods and evil rituals. And Phoenix's tears, and even blood, are one of them. That damn little first-year wizard was jostling his servants every day, and even he couldn't bear to hear some of the things he said. What does it mean to pretend to be a teacher? This is what I call Zangzuo. Master, I will do my best. Quirrell quickly expressed his loyalty. I will definitely get the Phoenix tears for you and help you regain your strength. Speaking of this, he hesitated. Master, Snape used to be your subordinate. Why didn't you let me go to him for help? Snape. Voldemort's voice was faint. He is indeed much better and smarter than you. Quirrell lowered his head in shame. However, I was still a little unconvinced. Voldemort continued, but it is precisely because he is too good and outstanding that I cannot appear in front of him now. 10 years have passed. I am no longer the Dark Lord I once was. Will a Slytherin as ambitious as him still be willing to recognize me as his master? If he betrays you, Quirrell's eyes flashed with cruelty, then I will kill him. It doesn't matter if you sacrifice your life, but if my existence is exposed, even if you die 10,000 times, it won't be enough. Voldemort said coldly, I'll give you a week. If you still can't deal with that little wizard, you know the consequences. After saying that, Voldemort closed his eyes and rested. The power he has accumulated is too weak. Every time he speaks another word, it is a waste of his life. Quirrell gently sent the scarf up again, his eyes flashing coldly. Wayne Lawrence. Wayne, please stop bullying Professor Quirrell. In the history of magic class, Hermione warned in a low voice. He is our teacher, after all. Wayne yawned and asked nonchalantly, Then, Miss Granger, what did you learn from this teacher? After hemming and hawing for a long time, Hermione finally found a reason. Away from vampires. Ha ha, you really know how to make me happy. Wayne smiled but said, You might as well learn how to deal with vampires from me. There is no tuition fee, and you only need to give me a half-hour massage. You're going to die. The little witch patted him lightly and did not mention Quirrell's matter again. She actually didn't like the useless Quirrell, and her admonishment to Wayne was out of respect for the teacher as a student. Secretly, Hermione had written several letters of complaint to Dumbledore. There are stories about Quirrell, there are stories about Cuthbert bins, there are even stories about astronomy classes that affect students' sleep. But Dumbledore only replied to Hermione with a letter, telling her that she could take a nap during the astronomy class, and it would be useless anyway. The little witch was so angry. On the podium, Cuthbert Binns continued to perform hypnosis. Today he was talking about the various deeds of wizards who helped various city-states conquer Persia during the ancient Greek period. What should have been a magnificent epic became boring under his narration. Wayne's eyes were deep, thinking about Quirrell's performance just now. It seems that he has other plans for King Feng. What does Voldemort mean? Wayne had little interest in Dumbledore's painstaking plan to raise a savior, but that didn't mean he wasn't interested in Voldemort. To be precise, what Wayne wanted to know were Horcruxes and how to make them. The production of Horcruxes is an extremely advanced black magic. You can hide part of your soul into objects. As long as this part of your soul exists, you can be immortal Tilda. The inventor of this magic is also the most famous dark wizard in history, the despicable Herbo. This wizard, who is also from ancient Greece, has existed hundreds of years later than the invincible Andros, and is one of the oldest known dark wizards. He created many destructive and evil black magic, even hatched basilisks through experiments, and transformed various magical animals, forming an evil army that was shocking to everyone. At the same time, Herbo is also the earliest known Parseltongue, as if he was born with the seed of evil, and was born with destruction and disaster. Most of the black magic and curses that have been passed down to this day are related to him. The only person who can be compared with Hairbow is the dark wizard Enzo, who later created Avada's Kedavra. The more advanced the black magic, the more evil the method of using it. To make a Horcrux, you not only have to endure the pain of having your soul torn apart, but you also have to kill living people as sacrifices in some evil ritual. It sounds like it has many shortcomings, but it is indeed a means of immortality. When used properly, it is even more advanced than the magic stone. It is somewhat similar to some legendary lick phylacteries, but does not have the ability to regenerate. If you want to be reborn with the help of a Horcrux, you have to use other methods. Wayne didn't start thinking about immortality at a young age. He just wanted to study the mysteries of the soul. In this world, the soul does exist. The legend of death has always been around the ears of wizards, and ghosts are a product between life and death. All kinds of secrets are seduce Wayne's curiosity. When the get-out-of-class bell rang, many little wizards woke up from a dream and walked out of the classroom, rubbing Zingsong's sleepy eyes. Walking to the cafeteria with Hermione, Wayne asked softly, "You should have herbal medicine class in the afternoon, right?" "Yeah, what's wrong?" "Help me go to Hagrid's hut after class and ask him to help collect some materials as much as possible." George and Fred were just starting to learn, so they wasted a lot of materials, but Wayne didn't feel bad about letting Hagrid walk around the Forbidden Forest for a few times, and everything was there. As for what to exchange with Hagrid, he can prepare some growth potion and insect repellent potion, which will definitely be used in Hagrid's vegetable garden. Hermione agreed readily, and the two talked about what happened this morning. "Are you really going to find Snape for tutoring?" "That's right," Wayne said. "Snape's level is not shown in class at all. It took me so much effort before he agreed to give me makeup lessons before Christmas. You have to pay for it for him." Hermione chuckled. "Aren't you afraid that he will seize the opportunity and Hufflepuff will deduct points?" Wayne looked at the little witch with caring eyes. "When have you ever seen Hufflepuff care about scores?" Hermione opened her mouth, but couldn't find the words to refute. The overall feeling of Hufflepuff is too Buddhist. If you want to add points, add points. If you want to deduct points, deduct points. As long as the homework is about to pass, just lie down if it's too late. Even the professors have nothing to do with this group of little badgers who have entered retirement life ahead of schedule. At least he is better than the noisy little Gryffindor lion who not only keeps himself occupied all day long, but also causes trouble for others. Hermione suddenly felt regretful. Would it have been better if she had been assigned to Hufflepuff? She didn't have a good relationship with the other roommates in the dormitory, but remembering that the Sorting Hat didn't even give her the option of Hufflepuff at that time, Hermione could only regard it as a fantasy. After the Transfiguration class ended in the afternoon, Wayne planned to go to the library to borrow another book, but was kept back by Professor McGonagall. After all the students had left, and only the two of them were left, Professor McGonagall said, "Lawrence, I know you have mastered all the content in class, but I want to take care of everyone's progress." Wayne was stunned. He was feeling anxious, thinking that the quill Harry bought was exposed. But when he heard that this was not the case, Wayne quickly shook his head and said, "Professor, just teach according to your own ideas. Don't worry about me." Professor McGonagall nodded slightly, with a smile on his serious face. "From the first time we met, I knew you were not a simple little wizard, and I didn't receive any letters from you during the summer vacation." Wayne said, "Aren't you afraid of disturbing your vacation? Besides, I haven't encountered any problems." "Then do you mind showing your true skills?" McGonagall said her purpose of keeping Wayne. McGonagall wanted to see how far Wayne, who had been dawdling around, had mastered the art of transformation. At least this little guy succeeded in everything in the class the first time, and even she couldn't find any faults. In order to prevent Wayne from hiding his clumsiness, McGonagall also specially gave a reward. "If you can surprise me, I can exempt you from Transfiguration homework this semester." Wayne's eyes lit up and he asked, "Are you serious?" "Of course." Professor McGonagall's lips curled up slightly, "but my requirements are very high." "I understand, Professor." Wayne cheered up. This was a Transfiguration job. In addition to Snape's potions homework, Professor McGonagall had the most homework, most of which were papers. Even if I have a know-it-all lady and a manuscript cleaning quill, it's just a little bit of trouble. Taking out his wand, Wayne lightly tapped the podium, transforming it into an old sow and making a grunting sound. It was the move that Professor McGonagall missed in his first class. "Professor, is this okay?" McGonagall's expression remained unchanged, even a little disappointed. "That's it. The transformation of dead things into living things, although it can be called excellent, does not surprise me. A lot of third graders can do it. There are at least two." McGonagall added to herself in her mind that she was actually very satisfied, just deliberately pretending not to care. Because Wayne was too relaxed and at ease just now, this level of difficulty does not show his true level. That's why I suppressed my desire to praise Wayne and wanted to see how far he could go, still not satisfied. Wayne scratched his head, unaware that he had been tricked by Professor McGonagall. He waved his magic wand, and the old sow turned into an ox again. At this time, McGonagall finally moved slightly. Multiple transformations. The transformation spells are divided from easy to difficult according to the transformation of dead things into dead things, living things into dead things into living things, and living things into living things. But this is only the most basic division. As the most difficult subject at Hogwarts, the mysteries of transfiguration go far beyond that. The multiple transformations that Wayne just demonstrated are one of the more profound research directions. Others include the control of deformed creatures, deforming multiple items at once and extending the duration of the deformation. Only true transformation masters can achieve outstanding achievements in these fields. For example, Professor McGonagall himself, or Dumbledore. The so-called multiple transformations are to transform the items that have been transformed again. With each additional transformation, the difficulty will increase geometrically, from the podium to a sow, and from a sow to S**X. Wayne used double transformation, which even most upperclassmen couldn't do. McGonagall did not make a comment, but asked tentatively, "Can we continue?" Wayne nodded and turned the ox into a python, and then into a goshawk. Under McGonagall's increasingly numb eyes, the goshawk landed on the ground and turned into a lion. After roaring, it twisted and turned into a honey badger. "Professor, is it okay? The most I can do is this step." Wayne appeared to be struggling to maintain his deformation. The honeypot's appearance was a bit out of shape. His ears were one big and one small, and his eyes were squeezed together. It was not very successful. He looked like he was at his limit. In fact, it's almost the same. If it weren't for the blue card drawing that drew some transformation experience, the current level would be Wayne's current limit. But because of the help of those experiences, he can still undergo multiple transformations again. "Lawrence," Professor McGonagall sighed, "I admit, you finally surprised me. No, you can even say you were shocked." It was unheard of for McGonagall that a first-year person could achieve such attainments in the art of transfiguration, let alone teach such a young wizard. Maybe Dumbledore could have done it back then. It's a pity that the time difference between the two of them entering school is several decades, and McGonagall has never really seen Dumbledore's charm when he was in school. "So what you just promised me?" Wayne asked expectantly. McGonagall glanced at him with a half-smile. "The last test is to turn all the tables and chairs in the classroom into different animals. I will count you as passing." Upon hearing this, Wayne waved his magic wand continuously without saying a word, turning the entire classroom into a zoo filled with all kinds of birds and animals. "Okay, you don't need to write your homework for this semester." McGonagall was also cheerful and gave Wayne the privileges she had promised. Wayne burst into laughter immediately. If he told Hermione this, she would be jealous to death. That's not right. The little witch just loves to do homework. If she is not allowed to do homework, she will probably be unhappy. "Lawrence," McGonagall suddenly said, "I would like to invite you to join my Transfiguration Club." "Oh, maybe you don't know what this is." McGonagall remembered that Wayne was a first-year student and explained to him, "This is a private club I founded, and most of the students in it have good levels of transfiguration. Please give me flowers. We will choose one night a week or half a day on the weekend to communicate and share some experiences." "Professor, is this unnecessary?" Wayne laughed dryly. "With my level, how can I communicate with them?" Wayne has too many things to do every day, including developing new magic props, going to the forbidden book area at night to supplement his knowledge, being a teacher for Hermione, and taking walks with Q. As an unskilled time management guru, he has his hands full now. You know, after enrolling for so long, he has not yet visited the forbidden forest that he has always wanted to visit. I really don't have time to join any clubs. Professor McGonagall. It took her half a minute to sort out her emotions before she tiredly waved her hand and chased them away. Just pretend I didn't say anything, Lawrence. Honesty is a good thing, but I hope you won't be so outspoken in the future. Wayne smiled sweetly. I'll pay attention, Professor. Bowing slightly, he exited the classroom. And Professor McGonagall looked at the classroom that looked like a zoo. He waved his magic wand and changed everything to its original state, looking at the tables and chairs and muttering to himself. Six-fold transformation, transforming dozens of items at once. How could such a talent be included in Hufflepuff? Unfortunately, in the history of Hogwarts, some people were expelled, some were captured in Azkaban, and some even died. But he was the only one who was not transferred to another hospital. Otherwise, McGonagall really wants to do something and get Wayne from Hufflepuff. After walking out of the classroom, hesitating at the door for a moment, McGonagall walked towards Lee Wei's office on the 6th floor. She feels a little uncomfortable now and needs to find someone to share her pain with. The next morning, when the little wizards were enjoying breakfast, the owls appeared on time and delivered their packages. An owl landed in front of Wayne with difficulty, put down a large package, and then looked at him sadly. Wayne naturally understood what he meant, so he took out some special pet food and let the round-faced chicken enjoy breakfast. Hermione just went to find Hagrid yesterday, and he will deliver the things today. Sure enough, this friend can teach. Then a phoenix flew out of the flames. It was Feng Wang, and she also brought a package. The appearance of the Phoenix King naturally attracted the attention of everyone in the audience, and even some people sighed repeatedly. They were convinced. Even Dumbledore didn't have the luxury to use a phoenix as a postman, but a little wizard was so willing. I really don't know what to say. What did you buy again? Cedric asked curiously from 2 seats apart. Just a few books. When he opened the package, it was true that there were only 3 books inside, as he said. Detailed explanation of ancient runes, ancient runic dictionary, how to look up a dictionary, rune, a senior student said in surprise. Wayne, the elective course cannot be taken until the 3rd grade. It is too early for you to buy it now. Runes are also called ancient magic patterns and runes, which are magical characters. Before there were specific itineraries and regulations for curses, many wizards used runes to perform magic, and some muggles obtained some information about runes to deceive and act as magic tricks. After their 3rd year at Hogwarts, students can take electives. However, few people will do this. Even if they take ancient runes as an elective, they will give up after passing the Owl's exam in 5th grade, because it's too difficult, and there are very few places to use it. I'm a little interested in this aspect. Wayne replied simply, you can read it in the history of magic class, so at least you don't have to sleep. There was a burst of laughter around, and the senior who just asked the question said speechlessly, there's something really wrong with the sorting hat. You should be sorted into the Ravenclaw. Nonsense. Wayne was serious and pointed to the 3 large sandwiches on his plate. No one is more qualified to be in Hufflepuff than me. The senior stopped talking and gave a thumbs up. You are awesome. After Wayne put the book away, he suddenly felt that someone had been watching him. He raised his head and saw that his dean, Professor Sprout, Professor Flitwick, and Quirrell were all looking at him at the guest of honor. Seeing that Wayne was aware of it, Quirrell quickly looked away and started eating breakfast, while the other 2 professors did not shy away from it at all. He even smiled kindly at Wayne, but Wayne felt fuzzy in his heart. What happened to these 2 people? It wasn't until after the charms get out of class that Wayne was left alone by the professor again that he understood the source of the problem. Lawrence. Flitwick looked up at him kindly. I heard from Minerva that you used 6 transformations yesterday. Today, I also want to touch your bottom, but the conditions are the same. As long as you satisfy me, you don't have to write the magic homework for this school year.